What's up, Fire Nation? If you're here, it's because you don't play small. Fire Nation is for the ones fueled by passion, driven by growth, and hungry to build real wealth. Not just for yourself, but for your family and future generations. This isn't just a channel. This is a movement. And if you're watching, you are already part of it. I'm Miss Bluefire, always taking you higher. Let's light it up. What's up, Fire Nation? If you don't play small and you're here to build, you're in the right place. I'm Miss Bluefire, always taking you higher. Let's light it up.
Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me and if you can hear me well. Good afternoon, time come. Good to see you and TG Media. Philip, good to see you. Let me know. Give me a fire flame. If you're not, even if you're in the bush, just like the live. But let me know if you can hear me. I can't start until I know that you guys can actually hear me. Time come, Anil, I know that you're working, so you can't type. But let me know so that we can get on with the show because we have a really good discussion today. It's something that we really need to think about, right? And planting seeds in the next generation's mind for what they can do for the culture and what they need to do for the culture. We're going to talk about Sumfest. Is Sumfest the new sting? Is it the new sting? A lot of people are saying that. But really, we're going to really look at, right, why it is important for us to have our festivals and why it is that we need to change trajectory in where we're going regarding the festivals. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit, not really teach a little, but I'm going to open up the panel to have, I'm hearing different things about bands and all of this, right? And about Sumfest and how it was, how you know, how it could have been better and how it could have been worse, basically. But let me know if you guys, I think you guys can hear me. Nobody's responding to me. There's about 7 of you here, but I'm not seeing any of you say anything. 1 second. Let me see something. Okay, I just got confirmation that you definitely indeed can hear me. You know, all you people, all you bush people, all you bush people. Anyway, that's all right. As I said before, my problem is this. I like a lot of people who don't like each other. Just come to the territory. When you like different people from different walks of life, you can see different qualities in different people. In the space gratitude. Good afternoon, Imhotep. Good afternoon, Imhotep 360 Disease. The real kid chronic. Good up, bless up. Imhotep, thank you for being here and thank you for the super chat. Imhotep, can you hear me properly? Tell me if you can hear me. The real kid chronic. Bless up, bless up. Good to see you. Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Real kid. Because some people are saying that they can hear me, some people are saying that they cannot hear me. All right, Imhotep, whenever you want to call in, you can call it loud and clear. Great, wonderful. So we're going to go into what it is that we're talking about today. Tonight, Fire Nation, we are going to ask one of the most uncomfortable questions in modern Jamaican music history. Is Reggae Sumfest becoming the new sting? That's a good question, right? But I don't mean the music. I mean the warning signs. Because something bigger is happening that many people are missing. Okay? These are facts. Jamaica created reggae. Jamaica created dancehall. All right? Jamaica created reggae. Jamaica created dancehall. Jamaica gave the world basically the blueprint. Right? Yet somehow, guess what? Spain hosts one of the world's biggest reggae festivals. Germany has kept festivals running for nearly 40 years. London's Notting Hill Carnival that attracts millions every year with Jamaican sound system culture at its heart. I'm telling you what I know, right? It's facts. Meanwhile, for us, Sunsplash disappeared. You guys remember Sunsplash? Listen, if you're not old enough to remember Sunsplash, you know. If you're not, I'm not going to date myself. People keep telling me that I don't pass 32. That's all right. But if you don't remember Sunsplash, then you're a little bit behind the ears, right? But anyhow, let's go back to the reason. So Sunsplash, this is what happened to us. Let's go over it again. Spain hosts one of the world's biggest reggae festivals. Germany has kept reggae festivals running for nearly 40 decades, and we're going to go through it. London's Notting Hill Carnival, you know that carnival, it attracts millions every year with Jamaican sound system culture at its heart. Check it out if you don't believe me, and I'm going to give you some references because you know your girl always loves her research. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, Sunsplash disappeared, Sting struggles, Rebel Salute, my favorite one, paused, right, in Jamaica. And Sumfest has been reduced to a one night special for 2026. Well, they say it's because of extraordinary circumstances, you know. That is what they say. But we're going to go deep into it tonight. So listen, Fire Nation. Tonight is not about Sumfest. It's about something much bigger. I want you to ask, can a country remain the cultural capital if it slowly loses the stages where that culture lives? I'm going to ask you again, I want you to think about it. Imatep says, is the link pinned? I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'm going to pin it soon, Imatep. I just want to go through my intro, right? Can a country remain the cultural capital if it slowly loses the stages where that culture lives? Because music is one thing, infrastructure is another. So tonight, we're going to separate emotions and feelings from economics and business sense. We're going to also separate nostalgia from reality. And I want you guys, Fire Nation, to ask yourself one question throughout this live. And after this live, I want you to ask yourself one question. Are we protecting Jamaican culture, or are we exporting it faster than we are preserving it? These are things that we need to think about. All right, good. So now let me get in and let me pin the live for Imatep. And wait a second. Copy. The real Kid Panic says, this sounds like a lovely reasoning can go on based on the thesis. Yes, sir. And I did a lot of research. I've been doing lots of research since before. If you notice, it was scheduled from before the event. Right? Bless up, bless up, bless up, self-made. I'm sorry, bless up, Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, bless up. Good to see you. Good to see you, self-made. Right? So that's the link, Imata. Bless up, self-made. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. So yeah, self-made, you can call up too as well, because we're going to have a very spirited conversation. I did a lot of research for this, and I have some solutions, because you know we are solution based, right? Solution based thinking is what it is all about. It is pinned Imhotep, so whenever you're ready, you can let me know, right? All right, so let's get into it now, guys. You have to bear with me when it comes down to seeing the comments today, especially. Reason being, I only have one screen because I'm still in Jamaica. Okay, so I only have one screen with me here. Okay, so I'm going to have to be going through the presentation and looking at the comments at the same time. All right, good. Now, let's get into it. Reggae Sumfest is not the new Sting, but for 2026, it is borrowing one very Sting-like trait, which is called concentration. Historically, Sting and Sumfest, though, were built for very different cultural jobs, and this is the problem. People are just seeing it as a stage show. They had cultural jobs, and this is what a lot of people on the different platforms, when they talk about it, they're not getting. All right, Sting, First stage in 1984. That was the raw, high pressure Boxing Day one night dancehall arena built on surprise, built on rivalry, built on lyrical warfare, and built on live danger. But what was Sumfest? What was Sumfest's job? Sumfest launched in 1993, right? Out of the post Sunsplash era. You guys remember Sunsplash? It should be old enough if you're here, right? No, that was designed as a broader festival platform tied to tourism, Montego Bay, multiple side events. There was a lot of side events that was going on, and a two-night main stage structure that could hold dancehall, reggae, and international acts together. That's Sumfest. In other words, Fire Nation, Sting was the pressure cooker, but Sumfest was the ecosystem. Okay, let me add on Imhotep. Yes, Imhotep. I add you on now before I continue. I'll let you go. You can unmute.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to just
Mhm.
finish this and I
Yeah.
will,
Hi.
see what I'm saying. Big up yourself, Mrs.
I
Bluefire.
don't think I don't know if you can hear you. Hold on. I can't hear now.
Are you
Hold
hearing
on.
me? You not hear me?
Hold on, Imhotep. There's something is wrong why I cannot hear you. Hold on. Right there.
Check. You hear me? No?
All right. Talk now. Let me see if I can hear you. Can you hear talk now? Can you still hear
I,
me?
yes, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Am I still loud though? Or you can still hear me well? Or am I
Yeah, man. You're good.
I'm
You're
good?
good.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Blessings, Kenny Marshall. Good to see you. Blessings. Thanks for being here.
I was just saying if you wanted to finish elaborating on this slide and then I could chime in after or
Okay. No worries. Yeah. No worries. No worries.
All
Yeah.
right,
Let
yeah,
me
sure, you
continue.
can go
Right?
ahead.
So, in other words, Sting was the pressure cooker and Sumfest was the ecosystem. Right? No, also, the idea that Sumfest is now only one night needs a date correction. Why? 2025 happened. Right? 2025, it was July 13 to 19. And the main event still had Festival Night 1 on Friday, July 18th, and Festival 2 on Saturday, July 19th. Now, the 2026 special staging, the one night format, right, is officially branded as a taste of Reggae Sumfest, right? Now, organizers have described it as a one off adjustment, not a permanent abandonment of Montego Bay. This is what they're saying, okay? Now, is Sumfest the news thing? No, not in identity, but maybe a little in temporary format. A little and temporarily in format, right? Just temporary. We have to see what they're going to do next year, right? Sting's brand DNA is different. Sting's brand and the DNA of Sting is confrontation, unpredictability, lyrical blood sport, and Boxing Day mythology. Everybody knows that. But Sumfest brand is scale, tourism, prestige, curation, and range. When I say range, it means that it's not only dancehall, it's reggae and other acts as well. So even when Sumfest leans heavily into dancehall, it still carries the logic of a destination festival. Okay? Sting was famous for clashes like Supercat, Ninja Man, Merciless, Bounty Killer, all of that, right? But Sumfest, by contrast, grew into Jamaica's longest running music festival and a national tourism engine, right? And it had side events, as I said to you before. And basically, it had a wider cultural and commercial brief. Big up yourself, TG Media, big up yourself, Philip, my bro, good to see you. Now, what does make people why are people asking if Sunfest is becoming a new thing? It's because of the packaging and because of what they said, the language that they use. They said one night, one stage, two dancehall icons. That language is much closer to Sting's old scarcity and shock value than to classic Sunfest week-long architecture. I'm going to say that again. That language is much closer to Sting's old scarcity and shock value, that's the brand of Sting, than to classic Sumfest week-long architecture, which is the brand of architecture, right? Right? And the 2027, 2026 hook, Vibes Cartel and Movado sharing the same stage in one night special that leans into what? A concentrated spectacle, which is what Staying used to be, right? It also leans into event urgency, one night. The same thing what Alkaline did with with his event, one night, right? And it had a you had to be there feeling, right? That is Sting like in emotional mechanics. This is something that I want you guys to look up too. The emotional mechanics of the different stage shows, because they have different jobs, so they have different emotional mechanics. Look it up. It's actually a term. I didn't make it up, right? Even the Sumfest brand remains different, right? So this is the smart distinction. Sting, combat mythology. Sumfest, more of a festival institution. You understand? So Sumfest institution festival using a combat era scarcity strategy. That's what happened this year, 2026, right? That matters because when people say Sumfest is the new Sting, they're usually noticing the compression, but not the culture. The compression, I understand, one night, and because of the fact that it was dancehall, right? But you have to look at the brand of the thing and the culture of the thing, right? Compression Fire Nation means fewer nights, a more explosive headline premise, and a stronger dependence on one big emotional draw, which is the Cartel of Nevada. That was the one big emotional draw. So and then the culture, when it comes to Sumfest, culture is deeper than just the format, right? Sting trained artists to survive pressure because of the battlefield that they created there. And these are facts. But Sumfest traditionally validated artists by placing them inside a larger national and international showcase. And really and truly, it really was a showcase because if you saw the act before the main event, it was basically they're showing off their talents, right? Some of them are not there yet, and that's why festivals should have more than one night, right? But we're gonna go into that. So Fire Nation, those are not the same cultural function. Those are not the same thing. Simply perfect. One Miss Blue Fire and up. Big up yourself. That is right. That is right. That is right. 100%. Right? So before we go into why it's so, we're going to talk about why it is one night, but we're going to talk about the evidence that points to infrastructure and recovery. It was not a philosophical rebranding of the festival, according to what we have seen so far. And because of the fact that we don't know what's happening in the future. If they do this again in the future, 2027, then we can say, wow, they really rebranded the festival, right? But so far, from the reports, and I'm going to give you all the references that you can look up yourself because I did a lot of research on it, right? The evidence points to infrastructure and recovery because of the storm, right? Organizers said that Sumfest 2026 would move from its traditional Mobe, right, at Catherine Hall to Plantation Cove in St. Anne for a special one night experience, right? But they still stress that Montego Bay remains the home of Reggae Sumfest. Now, listen to me. Listen, those are not my words. That's from the article, and that's from Sumfest too. But you guys have to pay attention to language. When you have to look at what they're not saying as well, even though the future, we have to wait for the future, right? When they say Montego Bay remains the home of Reggae Sumfest, that cannot change because that is where it started, right? It doesn't mean a promise of return. It doesn't say that, but it insinuates that. But let's continue, right? Cranky says Sting doesn't pay their bills. Huh? I know that there was a problem too. That all comes down to Cranky infrastructure, right? Now let's continue. Multiple reports tied the change to the fallout from the Hurricane Melissa, which affected Montego Bay's event and hotel infrastructure and forced a scale down approach while Western Jamaica recovers. This is what they were telling us, right? All right. Imhotep, you have anything that you want to add before I continue?
Yes. Big up yourself, Mrs. Bluefire. Big up to all, the people who are here in the chat. Big up to all the members of the platform, the supporters of the platform. Yeah, man, you know the tingo. I greatly appreciate the content being presented. And as always, it is detailed and well researched and things like that. Um, Before I say what I'm saying as it relates to the context of the conversation, yeah, I just want to say something which I think from my perspective is needed to be said. The last time I was here, my actions were not desirable and it was unbecoming. I just want to make things clear that you are someone that is very special to me, and my actions on your platform should be actions that are beneficial to the growth and to contribute towards whatever you're doing with your platform. It's not to be counterproductive. And the last time I was here, yes, I got out a character over here, and I was very disrespectful. I just want to apologize to your platform and to the subscribers of your platform, because at the end of the day, it's not my nature to go into someone else's house and be disrespectful. So at least I can respect your house and your platform, and also respect the fact that you are someone that, yeah, we're coming from afar, and whatever my actions are on your platform, it should be about the growth of your platform. So yeah, I personally want to clarify things on that. Cranky D, no, I'm not carrying no feelings for no Gaza, right? I have no issues with the Gaza. I just want to make it clear to everyone too as well. Um, when you see me over here, so yeah, man, not no wrong, man. We can agree to disagree, and it's not that personal, all right? We're not enemies. We're not enemies over here. Let's laugh and talk and engage in the topic being presented, because Mrs. Bluefire has spent time, a lot of research, a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of energy in presenting the content. So no, I have no enemies over here. I just want to make that clear, all right? So
Thank
um
you, Imhotep.
yeah, I
I
just want the people them to just know that, listen me, yeah, yeah, man, we might not agree because someone might say this or that. I'm not your enemy over here, all right? Probably over my platform, yeah, we might go over there with that, but over here, no, it's a space that Mrs. Bluefire is creating that is conducive to everyone, irrespective of your affiliation. This is not no system platform, so to speak, nor is it structured to only attract a certain type of people in terms of the whole dancehall space. It's about quality content, informative content being presented to edify. And I just want to make that clear. I don't want anyone to feel also intimidated by my presence, right? Yeah, we can respect each other, we can disagree respectfully. So yeah, I have no issue with anyone over here. I want to make that very clear, because I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. All right. So yeah, big up.
Thank you,
Might
Imhotep.
not agree for everything sometimes, but yeah, it's always manners and respect to everybody. You understand what I say? And
Thank you very much,
I
Imhotep.
said, Miss
I really
Bluefire, your
appreciate
platform is a
it.
platform that is created to embrace and also attract diverse audience as well. And I can respect your platform and what it
Thank you,
stands
Imhotep.
for as well. All right.
I appreciate that, Imhotep. I really do appreciate that a lot. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate it. And thank you for setting that standard, and actually being a stand-up guy to actually apologize when you're wrong. So I appreciate that. And that is what friendship is. We have bumps in the road. That's how it is. You know what I mean? But the bond is always in the healing and the coming back together. You understand? So I appreciate you so much and thank you very much. And thanks for being here. I really do appreciate you. You hear? So thanks for that. But is there anything that you want to talk about with Sumfest at all? Tell me what you
Yes.
want.
Yes. Right. So based on your topic, you know, it tends to correlate to the human anatomy and physiology as it relates to the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say the mind is a thing. If you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes on to the context of your conversation, right? When we look at Sting, we see where Sting has lost a lot of its value in terms of its appeal to the dancehall audience. And we saw where Sumfest gave us a taste of Sumfest. And that's the reason why, from a musical perspective, I'm not too harsh on them. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are saying, well, this is not Sumfest and this and that. They never said it was Sumfest. They said it was a
The
taste of
taste of
Sumfest.
sentence, yeah.
Right. So,
That's
so at the
right.
end of the day, and we do understand the circumstances in which we got a taste of Sumfest,
That's
right?
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
However, what we saw with Vibes Cartel and Movado, right? Because this Sumfest, yes, there was Jamal there, there was Asian there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And
Sean,
there was Shana Chin or Chana Chin. What's her
Donna
name?
Chinan, Marcy Chinan,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, couple other
And
ones,
the Queen Ifrica. Let's
Queen
not forget her.
Ifrica, right?
She went to the place.
However,
Mm-hmm.
however, from the history of Sumfest, right? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
from the history of Sumfest, there's always that interest in the main course, which is in more instances like the biggest act or the biggest performance, right? Or the closer sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, yeah, it was all about Movada and Vibes Cartel. In previous Sumfest, the audience would appreciate everyone. However, their appeal, the major appeal was for the main event or the main act. So in this instance, yes, we see the young artists, then we see the Sean Stan them doing their thing and things like that. But I think based on the audience that was there and the anticipation and expectation, it was all about Vibes Cartel and Movado,
That's right. That's right.
right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's where all the attention was. And Sting, well, that little rivalry that we saw on the stage, friendly rivalry, of course, it epitomizes what Sting package to dancehall, right? And if Sting is not careful in terms of how they manage their brand, I think Sumfest has created now an avenue where they can be a conduit for
Yeah.
that aspect of the expression of our dancehall culture when it comes on to a clash.
Right. But you know what? Let's get more into the lesson because we're going to see why it is also risky for some fest as well. Right. You guys can still hear me well too, right? You guys can still hear me well?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and
You
clear.
can hear me? Okay, good. So now the distinction is important, Fire Nation. This is not simply they decided one night is better. It is closer to conditions forced a one night survival mode for 2026. And I'm going to tell you why, because we have to start to think of like promoters. We have to put on our promoters hat and we're going to go through the five buckets, right, of what they were thinking and how the rebrand, and how, sorry, this one night, this condition, one night survival mode happened. Okay. Now, that changes the argument completely. If a festival reduces because it believes the market prefers compactness, that signals one kind of industry transition. That's one kind of that's a complete rebrand. But if a festival reduces because a hurricane disrupted the physical and the economic environment needed for a full week, that signals something deeper. That means the cultural infrastructure is fragile. And these are facts. This is what's going on with our stage shows. Okay? We're going to go into it. A music culture is not only songs and stars. A music culture is also venues, roads, hotels, crews, transport, vendors, security, sponsors, media setup, and audience travel partners. And sorry, of audience travel patterns. Sorry. So when those systems are weakened, Fire Nation, the culture may still be alive creatively, but its public ritual spaces shrink. What I mean by public ritual spaces, right? What I mean ritual space, as in Sting is a public ritual space because it's a ritual every Boxing Day, December of 22nd to December 26th, everybody goes there for Sting, right? Public ritual, just like how we had um 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 my guy there, Tony Rebel Salute. That's always the first week of January. That's a public ritual, right? And that's at that space, Plantation Cove, right? No, that is where a one night Sumfest in 2026, that's what it really exposes, right? This is partly an inference, but it's also grounded in the reporting linked to Sumfest reduction to hurricane related damage, right? And the business warnings from Montego Bay stakeholders that the city would feel the economic shortfall, right? But this is why less festivals matter more than people think for a lot of reasons. Big up yourself, Duvet London. Big up yourself, Leon Brown. He said bread is in the building. Big up bread, big up bread, and big up we know who you are a long time. No, big up Simply Perfect. I don't know what that is. That's all right. Big up DL, my ops there. TG me, that's a me next. Gotta call it anytime. Right now, let's go into why the festivals matter more than people think. This is where the cultural arguments get serious. Jamaica has long used major music events not as concerts, but as national stages of self-recognition for the artists. We have to think about our artists. Reggae Sunsplash helped invent the tourism music model that was in the late 70s. You can look it up in history, right? And it even helped establish a summer tourist season in Montego Bay. Sumfest emerged in 1993 after the Sunsplash declined and became the long-running success of platform. Then Sting became the ritual one night proving ground for dancehall identity, right? That was the one night proving ground for dancehall identity. That's where they had the clashes, right? When those major stages weaken or shrink or disappear or become irregular, the damage is not only commercial, the damage is also symbolic. Okay, this is what I want you guys to understand. The current picture really does show contraction in the reggae dancehall festival space. That means that we are shrinking. We're not building the infrastructure to support and to make what it is that we create sustainable. Sumfest 2026 is down to a one night special. Rebel Salute announced that it would not be staged in Jamaica in 2026 because of the hurricane challenges. Sting 2024, that was postponed on the day of the event after a production breakdown. I'm not mincing words. These are facts. This is history. There's no feelings. That was a production breakdown why that happened. And reports later said that Sting would not be staged in 2025 either. That does not mean Jamaica has no events. It means that several of the island's biggest cultural rooted music institutions have recently faced interruption, scaling down, or cancellation. So, Fire Nation, this is not just about one promoter making one decision. It is about what happens when a culture has fewer giant public rooms to hear itself in. We need to have the rooms for ourselves. That is why I said to you from before, even with this charting, we need to have our own charting. For reggae and dancehall, two of the most influential genres in the entire world, and the ones that created so many offspring genres and influenced so many artists. Why is it at the birthplace of Jamaica, the birthplace of that music? Why is it that we don't even count and celebrate our awards or having a chart, accounting system? This is what I was saying to you guys the other day. If I want to make a documentary, like I was thinking, on Jamaica for in the 90s, right? And I said to you, what was the biggest song in 1994? Nobody can tell me. Everybody gonna go back to, oh, I didn't hear say, oh, that one was a big song. No, but that one was bigger. No, but that one was bigger. Where is the record? You know why? Because we're still relying on other people's things. We cannot do that. Okay? Also, it means that there's fewer rites of passage for the artists, right? Big festivals are not just paydays, they are career rituals. When we talk, think about it. I want you to think about it. When we talk about the artists, and we talk about them like Ninja Man, Beanie Man, and Beanie Man being on soapbox, and Ninja Man, and them going through Sting and bossing and all that stuff. Those are career rituals. Sting historically could turn a fearless artist into a legend overnight. It's facts. Sumfest could certify that an artist had crossed into national or international big league. That's what Sumfest did for a lot of artists, right? So think about it, Fire Nation. If there are fewer festival platforms, then there are fewer moments when an artist can prove crowd command, catalog depth, stamina, live musicianship, right? Cultural ownership in front of a mixed home and diaspora audience, right? That affects the whole talent pipeline. I want you to see it as that deep. It is that deep. Without enough major stages, there's fewer younger artist acts that get tested in high pressure settings. We need to test them in high pressure settings. Sting was one of them. There's fewer live reputations that are built there. There's more value shifts to streaming optics instead of stage power. This is the problem. That's what I keep hearing. Everybody's so obsessed with streaming optics instead of stage power. Stage power is important. It's still important, right? And the culture loses some of its public audition process, and we need that public audition process. It's facts. Without the buckles, of course, right? Big up Desmatic. Good to see you. Big up Collis, 1 HP. Good to see you, my dear. Good to see you, right? We need that, right? Now, it means that the culture becomes more dependent on superstar concentration. That is what is happening, and that's what happened at Sumfest, right? We become more dependent on superstar because Vibes Cattle is a superstar, okay? And Movada in his own right too, as him show himself come back up, he is a superstar too, right? A full festival week allows multiple tiers of artists. That is why people were not really that interested in the Miss Chin, etc., because it was kind of like a showcase. But when you have a festival week, it allows multiple tiers of artists. You can have the beginners, them go together. Then you can have the intermediates, them go on a different night. Then you can have the actual who we come to see, the actual big event on the third night. So you have multiple sub scenes and multiple entry points, right? So people are judged properly, right? A one night blockbuster pushes the industry towards headline concentration. That's what a one line blockbuster does. It pushes it towards headline concentration, right? One or two giant names carry the entire event's commercial weight. That is not good for everything, okay? The 2026 Sumfest pitch, yes, is literally centered around Cartel and Movada reunion. That's true. That is very huge. But it also shows how much a compressed event depends on an ultra premium narrative. It's facts, right? That can be good in the short term, yes, because it creates urgency and ticket demand. Fine, the promoters make their money. But we can't just look at the short term. Culturally, over time, it can narrow the stage. Instead of a festival saying, this is the broad state of Jamaican music right now, a one night special is more likely to say, this is the one giant historical moment that we can monetize right now. That is a very fragile ecosystem. That is not sustainable. Imate, what do you have to say? Big up yourself, Miss Jacobs. Big up yourself, Miss Jacobs. Good to see you.
Yes,
What you have to say,
I
Imate?
want to ask you a quick question just to pick your brain, and then I want to
Yes,
elaborate on something. Um,
yes,
because based on what you have highlighted here, branding
mhm,
is very important, right?
yes.
Like what your brand represents. So in other words, if KFC, for like 1 week was to say, well, we're not selling any chicken, it's just gonna be candy. Do you think that would affect their brand or branding? I'm just trying to tie it into the whole Sumfest situation.
Yes, it would, but it would be different because the thing is, if they say that we're only doing it for 1 week,
Right,
that is not ambiguous. So people can expect that it's going to go back to KFC. The
right.
thing is, the language around Sumfest has been so ambiguous, whereas they say that, oh, but Mobe remains the home of Sumfest. What does that mean? We know it's the home. We're not stupid. But they have not said that it would return, or they have said that, oh, it's because of the hurricane. But really and truly, Emotet, when you think about it, if you we're gonna go down later in the live, because it's not gonna be a long live. But later in life, we're gonna talk about the fact that they are testing. That is also testing to see if it is a market there in Ochi that would actually be a better ROI, return on investment, right? I'm sorry, go ahead there. What you want to say? Somebody was talking a while ago. Frankie D, were you saying something?
Yeah, yeah. I want to say something.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon. Good afternoon,
good
dear. Good to
afternoon.
see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Um, as
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about with the Sunfest and everything, from
Yeah.
Montego Bay to Plantive Grove now. If
Mm-hmm.
you start a market and
Mm-hmm.
your market is getting bigger,
Mm-hmm.
your supermarket, when you open the door, you don't have enough room for everybody. You have to expand the supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
With with Sunfest and the the energy of Sunfest in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think this Sunfest could have been old in Montego Bay
Okay. Tell me why.
because the room was not there for the people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we have to have a bigger venue to all the
Mm-hmm.
people. You have 40,000. That's what they count, and I bet it's more than 40,000 people. But
No, crankily, to be honest, I'm going to tell you this. The venue is bigger, at Plantation Cove, but they didn't use the entire venue. These are facts. I was there. Also, it wasn't around 40,000 people. I would say it was about 25,000. And I have the clips with the, because I was looking at the crowd the whole time. So I would say reasonably it was about 25 to 30,000 at full, when it was full. You see what I'm saying? Because there was a little time when it was at the beginning where you could see some grass when the first headliners, not the headliners, but the first acts were going on, right? But yes, it's true. Plantation Cove is bigger, but to be honest, that crowd could have fit in the old Sumfest venue because I saw it, right? So it doesn't have anything to do with, I don't believe it has anything to do with that per se. I think there was a lot of what was going on with partnerships and who carry the cost and who collect the money, but we're going to get into that. But
And
is that clear for you? Is that clear
well,
for you?
I wasn't there, so I couldn't do it. I hear what from the artist. What am
Yeah,
I correct? I wasn't there, I couldn't, but I what from the artist's mouth, what I heard, which I think they should know more than me and so forth. Anyway, now let's
yeah.
go back to Sting. Let's get to Sting now.
Hmm.
Sting is they are the one that spoil their own brand.
I know that. I definitely know that. I definitely know that.
Yeah,
So, so there's a lot. So, before you continue, right? Yes, you're right, and we have had those discussions before. Not only of mismanagement, but also they didn't evolve. Back in that day, there was a lot of bad enough artists and bad man police and all of that stuff. So it was kind of like it wasn't really settled into what it's supposed to be, really, right? Okay, fine. They apparently the management had not evolved with the times and think that they could still treat artists a certain way and promoters a certain way, and so basically the business base, it fell through because of bad management, right? So you are right about that, but tell me what else you want to add to that before I
yeah,
continue.
yeah. I was about to say bad management because number one,
Mhm.
you only can use um a rag, or even a toothbrush, you only can use it for a certain time. You cannot use it forever. Yes, it
Yeah.
gonna fade away. With that, what he do, to more what Sting do to most artists, yes, he break a lot of artists, but guess what? When the artists already break through, when they what for them to get what they cause they break through themselves, but still their breakthroughs Sting, cause without them it wouldn't be Sting. And
Mhm.
if everybody want to be paid,
That's
get
right.
paid fair.
That's
And
right.
you cannot. I go and I have a good show. Then I come, I'm complaining for my money. Then you're gonna go to Imote and say, Imote, why you work for me this year? Imote, what about you still didn't pay. I'm cranky, so how can I go with you? I'm cranky. I'm gonna happen to this. It gonna happen to me the same thing. He gonna go down lower to somebody gonna take certain thing when people that go to Sting come to Sting to see Sting and what the show they get is not what they say. So next year they're not gonna come.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's right. Imatapi, you want to say something about what Cranky was saying?
Yeah, because I mean, you always speak in the context of business or primarily.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
Sting, right now as it is, it would be considered as bad business in terms of how it was managed and dealt with, right?
that's right.
Especially during its glory days, the manner in which the artists were dealt with, as you spoke about earlier. A lot of bitter tastes are in their mouths in terms of not getting full payment and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, right? So now it's very difficult for said owners, right, to negotiate with the same people that you owe. Just imagine a borrow, or it's just imagine someone borrow $1,000 from you, right? I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna pay you in a week time. And guess what happened? I give you 500 and you're chasing me down for the next 500 and I go around you. But at the
Yeah.
same time, down the road, I'm coming to you again to borrow another $1,000. It's gonna leave a bit of taste in their mouth. It's the same thing with the established artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
That business by Sting has left that taste in their mouth where it's very difficult for the operators to approach these artists and for them to be even welcoming in
That's
terms of
right.
the agreement, because there's a lack of trust there.
That's
So
right.
that's a result of
That's right.
in terms of cause and effect.
Right. But for how important these stage shows are, not only to our culture, but to the artists, we're going to go into the next, some other files where we talk about where should the government actually step in, because this is an actual export. It is a cultural export. Big up, Skyra. My brothers, big up yourself, Skyra. Good to see you. Good to see
Scara,
you. What's Skyra?
big up,
Long Skyra don't come. Jesus, I tell you,
Scara,
them coming is a celebration, because
big up Scara, man.
him not forward over here. So big up Skyra, my bro. right? So it means less economic circulation through ordinary Jamaican hands. One of the strongest fact based arguments you can make is economic. Yes, the government of Jamaica and tourism officials, they have repeatedly described Sumfest as more than entertainment because it feeds the hotels, the taxis, the restaurants, the craft markets, the vendors, and the small businesses. Yeah. Tourism officials said 2024 Sumfest visitors contributed to an estimated 25 million US dollars to Montego Bay's economy. And I'm going to give you guys the articles and all of the references because I'm not making these numbers up. I did my research. I'm going to give you all of the links so you can go and look at them. Okay. 25 million US dollars to Montego Bay's economy, and 43% of arrivals during Sumfest week were international visitors. Now, in 2026, Montego Bay business leaders, they openly warned that scaling down and moving the event would hurt their projections for the hotels, for the villas, and the transport and vendors. Because what they do every year as a business, you do your projections when it comes on to the other things that are going to come to your city or to your business that actually going to help your money, right? Especially if you're in tourism, you account for it, right? So culturally, fewer festivals do not only mean less fun, they mean fewer seasonal injections of money into working people's pockets through our culture. And that matters because a culture survives not only when it is loved, but when enough people can earn from its public expression. I want to say that again. That matters because a culture survives not only when it is loved. Yes, it's great that we love our culture. That is not enough, right? It survives when enough people can earn from its public expression. And that is why it is such a tragedy what's going on in Spain, what is going on in England, what's going on in Japan. You know why? Because they are earning from our public expression. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that, right? Now, before I continue, any of you sirs want to say anything before I continue? Frankie
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me say one thing before I go.
yes, sure.
One thing before I go, and this is going back to Emote.
Yeah.
I'm so feel kind of little good. He come and he apologize to your platform a while ago.
Yes.
The way he behaved the last time.
Yeah.
Number one, Emote. When you see a force, you cannot stop a force that is going. Either you join or you get out the way. That's the only thing. Because with the Gaza nation now, this is a force that is running through right now. And it's unstoppable for right now. And maybe until maybe it start to lose his ground. But this force is going through right now. And nobody can stop this force.
Right.
Yes, before me I make we should enjoy this right now. We wait 13 years for this. And we never go nowhere. We hang on to other people, and hoping for this day. Some of the time we give up. So this not gonna come. And it happened that as what he say, God on time and God make time come and we go through this. And this force is going right now and nobody can stop this force. No matter
Right.
what anybody, no matter what anybody say and do. Yes, everybody can big up the artists and talk about the artists, but the force, we have to join the force or let it pass through until, you never know, because time's turn.
Right. I just want to say this that I have no issue with Gaza Nation, right? This is YouTube and it's all musical. My conversations are all musical. It was never nothing personal, right? It was never nothing personal towards even Vibes Cartel who represent Gaza Nation. It was more musical conversations and people might not agree with me. And that's fine. You get what I'm saying, in general? So I don't want you to feel as if I am against, any Gaza Nation or Vibes Cartel. It's just musical conversation and it's opposing views. And from I've been on the internet, I've made that very clear that yeah, there will be opposing views and there will be disagreements. It's how we handle disagreements. But of course, I can be man enough to say that a platform of this nature, yeah, of course, it's important for me to contribute towards its growth and not to display any actions that can undermine it. You get what me I say? Because I NID we there from foundation. You get what I say? So it's all about the growth of the platform and things like that. But I just want to make it clear over here, so me not have no issue with no Gaza nation. And even in general, I really don't. And people know. People they just don't disagree, they just don't agree with me, and that's fine. We can disagree. It's just how we deal with it more time. And I think sometimes our approach it's more of a toxic one. And I think sometimes that's counterproductive as well. As mature people, we can disagree and keep it moving, but sometimes we're combative about it. So yeah, my general. We have no issues, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. That's why I wouldn't root nobody. But the only thing like this here, sometime it feel good to be on the winning side. The other people gonna hurt sometime, and cause everybody have their own people.
Right.
And when you see certain things going and maybe not going your way, you're gonna come and lash out and everything. But the only thing you can do, either just sit back and relax and make it pass is true, because this is something that is unstoppable for now. No matter what nobody said, or no
Yeah.
matter what nobody even tried to bring it down, this force is unstoppable right now.
Yeah, and the truth be told is this, right? I've spent my money, hundreds of dollars, to go to Vibes Cartel show in New York because it's near me. Me buy and stream me music too. So at the end of the day, my general, I support Vibes Cartel music, right? Yeah, so I have nothing personal. I'm just saying musically there will be opposing views, and our problem is not the opposing views, it's just how we deal with them. All right, I'm just gonna
Big
hand
up
it.
Imhotep for that. Big up, and thank you for that. And listen, guys, I don't since him, he come out, he's so gracious, and him actually, apologize, which is more than a lot of men would do. I want us to actually give him grace, and you know what I mean. Don't demonize him that much. If
No,
that's
no,
what you,
I'm not. I'm just
yeah,
telling you. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. I'm glad he come back and do that.
yeah, that shows the test of characters, because a lot of men would offend you and know that them wrong, and just try to sweep it underneath the rug and act like as if that is the standard for how other people supposed to treat you, and which is not facts. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate that as a woman too, and I appreciate that as his friend. So I big up, I big you up to Cranky D for supporting me, and for actually, having saying what you feel, and not mincing how you feel too, because that's the thing. We don't like the hypocrite thing too much when somebody feeling something, and have up people and stuff like that, because it's going to come out. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
blessings for that, and I appreciate you, Cranky D. I don't you think I don't, right?
yeah. So I'm gonna go back in the bush
And
and listen to
okay,
you
well,
guys.
continue listening. Continue
Yeah,
All
man,
listening.
right.
big up Kanky D, man. We are not enemies at all. You get what me I say? We just have opposing views, in general. That's all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, cool.
Big up yourself, Cranky. All right, and thank you very much, Imhotep. You really stand up for that, and I appreciate you. Now this is what it means to Imhotep. It means a weaker map of Jamaican cultural geography, right? Classic Sumfest belongs to Mobe. Sting belongs to Boxing Day, Portmore, Jam World Memory, right? It's facts. Rebel Salute belongs to its own roots and culture lane. These festivals, Fire Nation, they are not interchangeable. They attach music to place, time, mood, and identity. Listen to me, it's facts. When I go to Rebel Salute, I don't dress the same way like I go to Sting, right? Like I went to Sumfest. I'm not gonna dress that way to go to Rebel Salute, right? It's just facts. It's a different place, time, mood, and identity. When those events contract that way, Jamaica loses part of its cultural calendar map, and we need that. The fixed moments and locations through which people experience the island as more than a playlist. We need to experience our music as more than just a playlist. That is why moving Sumfest out of Mobe for even 1 year, it does carry symbolic weight. But the organizers insist Mobe remains Sumfest home. Listen to me. When they say this, on to stop being fooled by ambiguous language. Okay, this is ambiguous. Yes, it remains Sumfest home. What do you mean by it remains? That is the home. Of course, it's the home. That's where it started from. It's facts, right? But that's not telling me that it's going to return there. You must always listen to what people don't say, especially in business, which tells you they understand the bond between the festival and the city. The concern, though, from business leaders in Mobe shows that the event is not just hosted there, It is woven into the city's identity and the economy. You know why? Because they started to make their hotel projections based off of Sumfest coming to Mobile. So a lot of people are going to make a lot less money than they thought they would this year, and the shareholders are upset. It's facts, right? Also, it signals climate vulnerability entering Jamaican entertainment in a more serious way. Let me explain. This is one of the most important, deeper readings. The reporting around Sumfest 2026 and Rebel Salute repeatedly points back to hurricane damage and the logistics strain that happened, right? When more than one major cultural event is altered by storm impact, a storm that happens every year because of the fact that we even have a hurricane season. We have a season that we call hurricane season. So when more than one major cultural event is altered by storm impact, it stops looking like isolated inconvenience and it starts looking like a structural issue. It's facts. Why is it that we don't have the structure to deal with something that we know is going to that may come every year? It's facts. We have a hurricane season for a reason.
Right. I just want to chime in real quick, right?
Yes.
You remember, up to recently, up to last year,
Mm-hmm.
and previous years, there have been calls for designated entertainment venues, right? Because
Right.
Jam World was like, let's say Jam World was like the only designated one that we can
Yeah.
say was operated by the state through the
Yeah.
UDC, right?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you have Mascam, but a carnival that's private in investors people, right? That's bacchanal people and those people. That's private. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have people who can rent a Mascam and keep events. And that was very good for the ecosystem of Kingston in terms of entertainment, right?
That's right. That's
Right.
right. Timothy.
So there was a call for more entertainment zones,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of the lack thereof. Yes, you know, you have the clubs, you have the you have the asylum or the building or triple century, whatever they want to call it now. I'm saying, like, yes, you have a couple clubs, but these are small places. When it comes down to entertainment zones, yes, there were some um calls for that, and we saw where the government made some attempts to establish entertainment zones. We have not seen it come to fruition as yet, but the problem here is this now. With the lack of the entertainment zones, yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
does not foster an environment where you can have a lot of events,
That's
right?
right.
Because you don't really have the entertainment zones to accommodate the events. The,
That's right.
the promoters are available. They can source the funding, but sometimes the locations are just not there. You know,
And that is why, Imhotep, later on in the discussion, we're going to talk about, since this is such an important cultural export, why is it that we have a minister of culture? How is it the government is not stepping up in certain ways and aspects? We're going to go into it
yes,
because
and that's
we need the
really
next generation. We need to plant these seeds, Imhotep, in the
yeah.
in the minds of the next generation. Go ahead, Imhotep. What were you about to say? Sorry.
Yes, sorry. That's really the elephant in the room. The
Mm-hmm.
lack of government funding in
That's
terms of
right.
supporting our cultural
That's
product,
right.
right?
That's right.
Because these events are cultural products being exported to the world as well,
That's
right?
right.
Yes.
And
So
not, yeah, go ahead.
unfortunately, unfortunately, even our intellectual property,
Mm-hmm.
you can go to the store now and get a Jamaica bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get a Jamaica Pride curry. Where was it
Mm-hmm.
made? Not in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Jamaican spice with the flag on it.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of merchandise, clothes, shoes, shorts, everything with Jamaica on it. However, it's not from Jamaica. And that
That's
was an
right.
issue in terms of protecting our intellectual property from a cultural perspective. I think the government, yeah, that's the elephant in the room. Their lack of protecting our cultural products and even
Yes.
the events. When we look at a Sting and a Sumfest, yes, Sumfest generates a lot of revenue, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
for the hotels and even the airlines, because lots of flight coming into Montego Bay,
Yeah.
it benefits the city. Tourists are all around and about. A lot of hotels fully booked out. Even with the advent of Airbnb now, a lot of people who are within that vicinity, it's beneficial to them. So you see the whole benefit to the economy of a Montego Bay or wherever these events are held, right? Even at a Sting over Jam World, the little peanut man, him good. The jerk chicken man him good. The man who
Yeah,
have installed out the road with them liquor, him Heineken and beer and him whatever him good, right? You have them weed man, you have weed and whistler. So I'm saying a lot of people, benefits from it. However, with a sting, like the support from even the government, because these type of events, a lot has changed as well, Mrs. Bluefire.
that's
It
right.
costs
That's
a
right.
lot more money, capital, and the logistics as well can also be contributing factors in terms of the capital needed to
That's
book
right.
the artists and how much they are charging. Really and truly, a sting for a sting to keep, we're looking at minimum even a 500 million Jamaican dollars
That's right. That's
just
right.
it. And sometimes it's not that easily accessible. However, the government through the Jamaica Tourist Board and through the Ministry of Culture and things like
That's
that
right.
should support these
Should
events,
support.
and at least encourage major sponsors to come on board as well.
That's
Which
right.
we didn't see that type of energy. And
That's
still
right.
product of Jamaica, a brand that is a
A
part of
brand, that is it, exactly. And why, and we're gonna go into what in Japan, Germany, and England does,
right.
and where they are beating us. But let me big up Fryneck. Big up yourself, Fryneck. Good to see you, study.
Yeah, man, big up
Everybody
Friday.
studying, study. Big up, study. Big up. I see DL peeping out them. I big up DL. All right. So listen, it may signal climate vulnerability, like we were talking about. Now, this is the thing. The future of Jamaican music culture is not only about talent. This is the thing. Everybody relies so much on talent. You cannot just rely on talent. They need the infrastructure to support that talent. The future of Jamaican music culture is not only about talent, it's not only about labels, it's not only about fans. It has to be now about resilience and about planning. Can venues recover quickly? Can event supply chains absorb these type of shocks that happen? Can promoters ensure against disruption? Can cities protect the physical spaces where the culture happens? This is one of the more important, deeper readings. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? It's clearly, if more than one event is altered by the storm impact, we have a structural issue, and we have a structural issue right throughout the music, not only with the venues, but even with the structure of dancehall, right? Even when it come on to people getting paid, right? Even when it come on to the structure of even just down to the as within so without even the clashes. You understand? There is no structure, and without the structure, right? It's you cannot just rely on talent alone. Now, here's a question: does fewer festivals mean Jamaican culture is weaker? First of all, everybody, please like up the live. It's 22 of you in here now. Just like up the live, even the people in the bushes while you learn. Right? Big up success over hype, my sister. Big up yourself. Good to see you, Miss Blue Fire, and everyone. Bless up. Bless up. I told him long ago, Scara, that his Damascus moment was now it has arrived. Simply perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. What's
No,
the
no,
Damascus?
man. No, man. I mean, good I refer to, man. But
Simply
no,
perfect. Come
but
on.
that's
Like,
fine. But
no.
it's all
Let me
music.
stop. Let's
No,
not
no,
start.
no, no.
I
It's
know,
fine. But people have to just understand. Say, yeah, and them
I
know too.
understand.
It's all
But
music.
remember, but
Let's
I
continue.
get it. I get it, but at the same time, simply perfect. You know, I'm happy you're here, but we just want to focus on the learning right now. You see what I'm saying? So maybe
Come
we
on. I
just
see.
focus
I
on
see.
this, because this is how things devolved last time, and then even if you don't answer, somebody else will answer, then somebody else will answer, then somebody
No,
else
man.
will answer. And, you
No,
know,
no, no.
so we just
No,
want
we
to
we
focus
gotta
on
make
the
sure. Say, no, we gotta ensure. Say,
yeah.
that not happen at all. So
I
at the end of the
understand.
day, still, yeah,
Yeah.
it's simple. Yeah, it's just a.
So simply perfect. One of the moderators we're going to no, we're not going to time me out or anything like that. But I just wanted to know that let's just the comments, let's not instigate on each other, or you know what I'm saying, poke at each other, please. I just want you guys to learn, and then you can fight with it on your different platforms, right? Because this
Right,
information here is something that's going to accelerate every camp.
right.
And guess what? Guess here's the funny part. We don't know which camp is going to listen to me. You understand what I'm saying? So whoever it is that actually listen, right? Them will actually be will have the advanced conversation. That's what you want. All right, no problem. But listen, we're
No,
gonna
no,
done
that's
with
fine.
this.
That's fine, Mr. Fire, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Good
That's
evening,
fine.
Miss
That's fine.
Booker. Don't make me step over to.
Yeah, it's
Yes, the man.
respectful.
Yes,
It's
the man. I
respectful.
know, but I don't want anybody to be provoked either, because that's how it started in the first place,
Yeah.
right? And I
Well,
just
I
want
mean,
us to just
that's
be
fine.
here to learn, right?
Yeah.
All
To
right,
be
all right.
provoked, it depends on our reaction as well too. So
That's
sometimes we
true.
can
That's
just know
true.
say it's just like a banter and YouTube streets, man. We just know say I just saw it go more time. You see? Yeah.
Okay. Now, does the fewer festivals mean Jamaican culture is weaker? Not automatically, no. But it does mean the culture may be less publicly staged, even if it is still privately alive and digitally active. Jamaica proves that it can still produce world class music, virality, and artist power, while its festival infrastructure is under strain. Why is this? In fact, part of Sumfest's continued strength is that even in a reduced 2026 form, the brand still had enough symbolic power to sell a major historical moment around Cartel and Movado. And that has consequences. Guess what? A playlist cannot replace a festival. A stream cannot fully replace a city full of visitors. No. A viral clip cannot fully replace the right of seeing who can hold a Jamaican crowd live at 2 a.m. Listen to me, that takes stamina. Okay? That is the cultural loss embedded in this moment. It's not a loss of songs, it is a loss of public communal testing. It is a loss of public communal witnessing and memory making. That is the interpretive argument, right? But it is strongly grounded in the historic roles these festivals have played in Jamaica's music life. We cannot go around it. Now, here's my thesis. Here's my fire thesis. Reggae Sumfest is not becoming Sting in identity, but 2026 forced it into a Sting-like form. One night, one concentrated emotional cell, one historic draw. The reason is not simply taste. The reporting points to the hurricane disruption, right? And what that affected Mobe's infrastructure. And culturally, the bigger issue is not that just Sumfest is shorter. It is that Jamaica's major live reggae dancehall institutions have recently become less stable, less numerous, and less expansive. And that matters because festivals are where music becomes public memory, local income, artist validation, diaspora reunion, and national self recognition all at once. Do you know that girl who was beside me never came to Jamaica? Well, she was born in Jamaica, but taken to Massachusetts when she was a little baby, right? Never came to Jamaica before. Love Vibes Cartel, right? Right? She have a little bit of an accent, a little bit of a Jamaican accent because of her appearance. You understand? That is diaspora reunion, and she met up with all our cousins them and all that stuff, and apparently they didn't come to the show, so she was at the show by herself, right? Right? So this is the importance of the shows, right? So it's not just a festival, right? No, it's true that dancehall night is it true that dancehall night makes the most money? No, this is what people been saying, and I wanted to address this. You see what I'm saying? Right? I wanted to address this. Is it true that dancehall night makes the most money? This is what people were saying. No, there is no direct public financial breakdown by night. Let me tell you what the breakdown is because I looked it up. And this is the article that you can look at it. This info is from South Florida Caribbean News. Let me tell you. No, there is no official report from Sumfest organizers that says dancehall night generates X% and reggae night generates Y%. There's no data like that. Most financial data is reported as total festival impact, not per night. Example, the government estimated Jamaican $1 billion. That was the total economic impact for Sumfest overall, right? That includes the hotels, the transportation, the food, the tickets, and the tourism. It's not broken down by night. This is what it's broken down by. But there is strong evidence that dancehall night is the commercial driver, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Even though there is no official split, multiple industry indicators point in the same direction that it is dancehall night. And I'm going to tell you why. Why? It's indirect but strong. Dancehall is the core crowd draw, especially for locals. This is the Sumfest structure. Sumfest structure itself tells the story. Friday, dancehall night. Saturday, reggae night. This ordering is not random. Historically, Friday is the younger, high energy, local heavy crowd. Saturday is the older diaspora and international and reggae audience. Promoters always put the highest energy, the most ticket moving, the night first. Ask any promoter. I checked. I checked. Right? And then and two promoters, but to be honest, they were not dancehall promoters. They were R&B. One was an R&B promoter, and one was like a different type of festival promoter. And then both of them, though, from two different genres, said to me, it is true. Promoters always put the highest energy, most ticket moving night first. Right? It's facts. Okay.
I
Big
just
up
want to say something.
Jamaica Vibe Sense. Big up Jamaica Vibe Sense. Good to see you. Sorry, go ahead. You want to?
Yeah, I want to say something really quick, right?
Yeah,
If we look at reggae, we can say Jamaica is the birthplace of reggae music, right?
yeah,
We look at dancehall, it's the same conversation. However, when we look internationally, reggae is more dominant outside of Jamaica. We understand it's a small country. We get that, right? In terms of the cultural appropriation, if you want to put it that way as well, because there is a lot of that going on in the reggae music, right? A lot
yeah.
of cultural appropriation taking place over Europe and all.
Europe, Japan.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, all over, right?
all of them.
So in other words, even though Jamaica is the birthplace of reggae, I don't think the government has solidified its standing.
Exactly.
I mean, anyone coming to Jamaica, the only reggae thing they engage in is going to the Bob Marley Museum,
That's
right?
right.
Right, or wherever he was born, or go Trenchtown.
Right.
There is nothing. The Jamaican government
Right.
not even have a reggae and dancehall museum to
Right.
showcase and highlight our history in reggae and dancehall. We don't even have that. You
That's
understand?
right.
So
And not only and not only that, Imate, but it goes beyond that too. Like, and I think we have spoken about this too privately. It goes beyond that because my thing is this, and this is what I receive when I become a when anyway. This is the thing. The lack of respect. I always say that most of the problems that we have in our culture in society is from a lack of respect, and you can see it in the music. You can see it how the how the promoters treated and the producers treated the artists, and how we treat our music. The lack of respect from the government goes deeper because it goes into why is this not taught in schools? Why is our music history, reggae, dance is not taught in school? Why is dance not taught in school? Why is that we're not teaching them about split sheets? Why is it that we're not having labs for people who have that artistic creative ability? Why is it that we don't have these scholarships that will actually help these people build studios or actually learn the music industry so you can have a future generation of future producers and future artists working together on school projects. They build that. Let me tell you something. You see, a lot of the work that I did in advertising, you know who my partners were? The people who I studied at my postgrad at Humber with, right? They were in the same class. She was Joyce. She was a art director. I was a copywriter. We worked together. So guess what? When we graduated and moved into the industry, we worked together again. These are things that we are missing out on. And then we have the distrust between the producers and the artists because one person have the information, the other person is not educated on it, right? So we need to make a priority, just like how I said, every school in Jamaica, and I know it's far-fetched because a lot of them don't have any money, but that's one of the things that I want to be able to do. You know, if
right,
if 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 life goes that way, every school in Jamaica should teach swimming. And it's not just because I love the sport, it's because it's a matter of a survival skill. You live on an island. What you
yeah,
mean to tell me say you live on an island and you cannot swim?
yeah. But
It's survival.
yeah, it's about the economics of it because the
That's
team,
why I said, yeah, the
yeah,
money.
you need
So
the pool,
what
you
I
need
would
the
like to do
pool
is
and
donate
stuff like that.
pools.
Yeah,
Yeah, donate pools to schools. You understand what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
And not
right.
only that, but you can even have it where some of these artists will have so much knowledge that is basically sundowning, right? Or older, like even say a Fambo, or like the older artists that are still going on, Mr. Vegas. You can have them come in as guest people in your schools to teach the music, teach what happened, teach the history. Is something so the artists can actually have another set of income as well, and students can be exposed to the art form. That is how respect is built. But the government is not putting enough behind it for us to actually respect it. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Because
Go ahead, Timothy.
the problem is the lack of structure, right?
Right.
Even from the government's perspective.
Right.
There is no all right, just to teach even the history of dancehall and reggae. A lot of people, they have no idea, right? When we
Yeah.
hear about the Chinese in Jamaica, a man will say
Mm.
Mr. Chong, Mr. Wang have one wholesaler, Chinese are business people. A lot of people who are in dancehall have no idea how
Yeah.
instrumental the Chinese were. The Chinese were the producers in the 50s and
That's
60s.
right.
The
That's right.
Chinese were the ones owning the record stores, and that's why VP,
That was my great grandmother.
right? That's
Yeah.
why VP is even so dominant in dancehall and reggae, because people don't have a clue how instrumental the
Yeah.
Chinese were to dancehall and reggae. Yes, we might be familiar with Byron Lee and the Jaganeers,
Yeah.
right? But that's over soca and calypso side,
Yeah.
right?
Facts.
They have no idea how instrumental these people were, even towards a Jimmy Cliff career and all these other artists in the 60s and 50s and 70s and things like that. So I think it's important to teach about the history of the music, because it will definitely enlighten the younger generation
And
and
the
allow them
children
to
are our
appreciate
future.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Imhotep, 100%. And the children are our future. So if we want the things to change in the future, we have to start planting these seeds now. And that's why, too, I love this teaching, because I say, you know what? I give up on my generation. The one above me, they're comfortable. They don't care. I'm trying to teach the younger generations who's coming up. Like, we have something that deserves your protection, right? You don't only hold the government to potholes. There are potholes in something in our culture that we need to hold them accountable for. Why do we have a minister of culture if the biggest cultural export is not even protected and there's no infrastructure around it and there's no talk around it? You know why? Because they see it as they have a lack of respect for it, especially dancehall. They see it as ghetto people thing or dirty people thing or bugu yaga music. So them still have that classism to it where it is not good enough to be taught, but yet still is good enough to bring people here to make money for your business. Make it make sense. Anyhow, let me continue, right? So dancehall artists drive live revenue globally, right? This is a key financial fact. Most of the artists' earnings come from touring in dancehall reggae. That tells you the genre itself is live performance driven. It's fact. It is not just an algorithm genre, right? No, let's apply that to Sumfest. Dancehall is performance driven culture. It is reggae, listening, and legacy driven culture, meaning dancehall fans are more likely to pay for live experiences repeatedly, right? Well, no, too, reggae too, because we don't have that much, right? No, promoter behavior reveals what really makes the money. This is one of the strongest real world indicators. Dancehall night typically runs longer, they have more artists, they closes with the biggest crowd surges, and they have the most intense audience turnout. It's fact. Friday night is fact. Even reviews note the biggest crowd energy comes late into the night when major dancehall acts hit the stage. Translation: peak attendance equals to was the dancehall performers. Okay. Now, this is the financial importance. This is the closing position of the financial importance. Even historically, closing dancehall night requires artists with deep catalogs. That's the high value slots. That is not just artistic, that is business positioning. Global industry trend supports that as well. Live Nation, the world's biggest promoter, they reported, and this is where I got it from, World Music News, they reported that reggae and dancehall concerts are now a major growth driver globally. We're going to go into that. But specifically, dancehall artists like Cartel, Sean Paul, and Poppy, they are selling arenas. They're driving ticket demands, meaning dancehall is more monetizable live product right now. It is monetizable as a live product, right? So why do people say dancehall night makes the money? Dancehall night has higher ticket demand, more local turnout, volume buyers, like I told you, the stronger crowd energy, which drives the bar, which drives vendor spending. It's facts. More repeat audience behavior. Reggae night have higher tourist value per person, but fewer total buyers because less people are taking the plane than the people who are going to show up locally, right? So dancehall is a volume business. Reggae is a premium tourism business. This is how it's been set up. So the real question is not which makes more money. The real question is which makes more total volume versus which brings higher value visitors? This is the question.
Yeah,
You see what I'm
just
saying?
chime in a little bit there.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
All right, we saw what Vibes Cartel and Movado did, right? Because they were the ones who pulled that audience there at Plantation Cove.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, Mrs. Bluefire, do you think like a reggae lineup could have pulled that crowd? I'm
No.
talking about like a reggae lineup, you know, like put the best of the reggae we have out there. You want to put the Junior Gang them and probably the Berry Sam and them and whatever. Do you think that lineup would have pulled such a crowd as the Vibes Cartel Movado dancehall kind of vibe? I'm just picking a
For the
brain.
one night,
Yes, yeah, just for one night. Yes,
no, I don't think so. And the reason
I
being is,
agree. I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
tell me why. Tell me why your reasoning is Imhotep.
Because all right, so in Jamaica, right, even though we can say the government has not protected the brand of reggae and dancehall, right? We can say that dancehall is dominant in Jamaica. Even now, yes, it might be the younger youths them and whatever, but the staples, the classics are still relevant, right? When you look at reggae, you realize that reggae is more dominant in Europe and even North American side, California and then place there. So like the pull that reggae had back then, I don't think it has it now. But Jamaica can have a dancer lineup that can pull one good 30,000 easily. You
Yeah.
understand me? I says, but the reggae lineup, I strongly doubt it. So I just wanted to point out that the fact that the stone the builder refused, which is dancehall, because the
That's
government
right.
pays reggae more and dancehall is less respected, right?
That's right.
Dancehall has the biggest pulling power
That's
locally.
right. And
Not
it's the
reggae.
bigger, it is not the bigger, but it is a big cultural export. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And listen, if it had the support that it really needed and the respect that it needed, right? I think it would be comparable when it come on to export like reggae and dance, like reggae. And you know, if it actually had the structure behind it, right? It could have been comparable, right? But hmm, yeah, that's a good, what you said a while ago. That is 100% fact, Imhotep, 100% fact. Now, so they cut to one night because of dancehall money, not proven. No. There's no factual reporting that says Sumfest reduced to one night because dancehall night is more profitable. But what is proven is the reduction is to the hurricane damage, the infrastructure challenges, and the relocation logistics. But here's the real industrial logic. This is our PowerPoint. Stop talking to yourself like that. I keep talking to myself in the third person. Well, that's how I talk to myself. Well, even though it's not officially stated, if you are forced to reduce to one night, which one will you pick? The night that guarantees maximum attendance, strongest energy, highest ticket conversion, which is the dancehall night. Just like what you were saying, Imhotep, for them to put, for them, if they had to have one night because of logistics
Right.
and because
Yeah.
of the fact that them, you understand, because of the storm,
Right.
they would not pick the reggae night, they would pick the dancehall night.
And
It's
that's
that.
exactly what Joe did.
That's
That was a
exactly what he
dance
did.
all night. Listen me. Yes, Queen Ifrica was just like a little sprinkling.
That's one sprinkle.
Right. It was dancehall. Listen me.
Dancehall.
Name the artist them dancehall. Cartel, Movado, Jamal, Asian, Shana, Chin, Shana, whatever the other Sean Storm. Just name them. It's pure dancehall. So I'm just saying, Joe, everything you said a while ago in terms of which one has the greater value at this time. Joe told us brawlingly, says dancehall.
Right. So with that, and this is what I want the dancehall artists and dancehall lovers to know. With that, you must see that dancehall deserves a lot more respect. Okay? And if we don't do it, they are not going to do it for us. And we have to teach, we have to inject that respect into the artists, and they have to respect their craft enough to know split sheets, to know how the money run, to make sure that them sign, that they pick up a pen before they pick up a mic, right? All of those things is just a matter of respect. Now, There's no official data proving dancehall night makes the most money, as I said before. But every structural, behavioral, and industry signal shows that the dancehall night is the most commercially reliable night of reggae Sumfest because you have more local turnout. What this really means for the culture: if Sumfest compresses to one night and that night leads to dancehall, right? Then what is happening is not random. It is signaling that one, the market is rewarding energy over legacy, the dancehall over reggae. Two, live culture is being driven by dancehall more than reggae. And three, festivals are becoming risk managed businesses, not cultural showcases. It's facts. They have to manage their risk to make back their money. Okay? All right. Oh, Jamaica's vibe said, Miss Booker, I'm not new to the YouTube streets. Been listening to you and Imhotep and Rickstone. London. Big up yourself, Jamaica vibes.
Yeah,
Good,
man.
good to know.
Big up Jamaica vibes. Say no,
Big up yourself.
big up
Big up
all the one
yourself.
time ones, man.
Big up, and big up Rickstone wherever it is. Right. So now the deeper, uncomfortable truth. Even if unspoken, promoters don't choose culture. Promoters choose certainty. That's why I want you guys to always think about this with your promoters hat on. Promoters do not choose culture. They choose certainty because they have to make their money. And right now, dancehall is certainty, but reggae is respect. We need a little bit more vice versa. We need some more respect for dancehall and a little bit more reggae certainty. Now, Fire Nation, right? Right? Every decision Sumfest is making tells you exactly which night they trust to carry the business. Dancehall carried that business for that night. It's fact. And I told myself, remember to tie it in and talk to them about the respect the genre deserves. Yeah, I've been talking about that the whole time. Yeah, right? Good. Right? Good. Now, here's the fire truth. Stage shows are not entertainment. They are infrastructure for our culture. When you lose Reggae Sunsplash, remember we lost that. When you lose Sting, and if you lose Reggae Sumfest, you're not just losing events, Jamaican people and Fire Nation. You're losing testing grounds. You're losing cultural memory. Losing economic engines. And you're losing artist development systems. And we need that. You know why we need these things? Because we don't teach it in schools. So we need as much testing grounds as we need, as we can. We don't have our own charts. So we need as much cultural memory as possible. We need economic engines to fund the society, right? And we need systems that actually help to develop the artists because we don't have enough in Jamaica. It's fact. Okay, right? And remember, in Jamaica and with the sting and with the stage culture that we have, it's trial by fire, pun intended, right? This is what stage shows used to do. And Imhotep, we can expound on this after. If you lose this, your artist development collapse. Why? This is what stage shows used to do. Sting, Sunsplash, early Sumfest, they were pressure chambers. Artists had to command a hostile crowd. Some people used to get buckled. I'm not supporting that. They have to perform at 3 a.m. when energy is real, not fake hype. Okay, because that's when the crowd already tired, right? They have to defend their name live, like with the clashes. And they have to prove catalog depth, like with Sunsplash. This is how legends were built. Vibes Cartel sharpened dominance in live environments. Bounty Killer built authority through crowd command. And Beanie Man became the king of dancehall through the stage mastery. We cannot go around these things. And I know people say, well, times change, times change. Yes, times change. But allow it but we need to make it change properly. We need to be on an upward trajectory because change is going to happen. But we don't want the change to be worse. We want the change to be better. So what
Right.
happens now, Fire Nation? Without enough stage shows, artists go and hide behind, oh, my streaming numbers. Oh, I'm viral on TikTok. Oh, my studio engineering, and all I'm doing is singing audio, whatever them do to mess up them voice now. Them have this new thing that I
Right.
cannot stand. Right? To make them voice sound like it's on key when it's really not. And I can actually hear it. But you cannot auto tune a crowd. You cannot edit live pressure and you cannot fake stamina at 2 a.m. That is why these were testing grounds and build by fire, right? Trial by fire for the artist. And if we take this away from the artist, right, then it's another problem. Go ahead, Imhotep. What do you want to say?
Right. So back in the days, like even in the Kingston era, right? In the
Mm-hmm.
Kingston eras, you used to have a lot of stage shows. I'm not talking about the big events like the Sunsplash and with the Rebel Salute them, and not even like Saga to the East and West Kingston Jam. St. Mary me come from. No, me talk about like local, right, within the community. Um, Stage shows. And that was an opportunity for up and coming artists to go on a stage, grab a mic, and perform in front of an audience. That has totally changed. Like the younger artists nowadays, they have not gone through that baptism of fire, so to speak, or, or,
Exactly.
or that rite of passage. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think losing that appeal in terms of having stage shows all over the place within our locals community space, of course, it definitely contributed towards the regression,
Right.
of the dancehall music appeal within our culture as well, because stage show was a thing, a big deal. No, you don't have the stage show again in these communities no more like that. No.
Exactly.
You get what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
Right.
You used to
Big
have
up.
Christie's
Sorry.
talent contest. Remember all that too?
Yeah.
All
That's right.
right. Even all right, Magnum Kings and Queens.
Mm-hmm.
That used to like be a thing because you can look at yes, all right, the next gen. You get what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
stage was a big staple within, especially in the corporate era, even rural areas as well. You used to
Mm-hmm.
have a land where I pay a bamboo, bill it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and yeah, you will have sound play there, but you will have stage show too as well.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, boy, the absence of that really is a big miss
Right.
for our culture.
Facts. Facts. And big up text 876. I locked in, sis. Bless up to each and everyone in the chat and the time. Big up text.
Text,
Text. Text. Thank you, Jamaica Vibes, for saying that. Yes, like up the live, people, and like and subscribe. So now, what happens now, Jamaica Vibes? Jamaica Vibes, you can call in whenever you want, because I know that you know about entertainment, right? Now, what happens now, Fire Nation? Without enough stage shows, as I said before, the artists hide behind streaming numbers, studio engineering, right? Now, here's the negative effect: the culture produces less complete artists. You get hit makers who don't have stage power. Listen to me. I'm not pulling nobody card. I'm not calling a name. This is something that we see. Hit makers without stage power. This is important. You have viral artists without longevity. Them viral and them gone, or them viral and them gone to jail. Right? You have performers who are great, but them cannot headline. Right? Here's my fire line. We used to build artists in fire. Now we're building them in Wi-Fi. Yes, that's my code. I thought it was clever. Shoot me. But the point of the matter is, right? We need to have more well-rounded artists. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why the superstars remain superstars, because they can perform. They are hit makers. They're not just studio artists, right? And you need to have the performance who can also carry a show and also headline. And that's why sometimes you find hit makers and them go to a show and people say, my God, them flop, them don't know how to hold up, or them don't have the chemistry with the crowd because they don't have enough practice. And because of the fact that we don't have that, we have a dwindling stage show ecosystem. So guess what? They're not seeing the stage performance as important anymore. They are still important. Okay? Now we have the loss of cultural memory. This one is deep. What festivals used to do, the stage shows shared national moments, right? Sting clashes instantly became history. We still talk about them. Sunsplash, that documented reggae to the world. Sumfest, that was a yearly snapshot of who runs the culture. These were real-time history recordings, especially because we don't have charts, people, right? Yes, tie it into what I was teaching them about the charts. Exactly. With the charts history. We need charts. We need to depend on our own thing. Okay? Without them, the culture becomes fragmented, digital, and guess what? Forgettable. Because streams don't create memory, people. Viral clips, they don't create legacy. And algorithms do not archive the culture properly. It's facts. So when we lose these moments that define eras, listen, you have moments that define eras now. We talk about what happened with Ninja Man on the stage. That was an era. That moment defined the era. When Beanie and Bounty was at Clash.
Hey,
Those
Merciless,
moments
yeah,
define that era, right?
Merciless versus Beanie and Bounty. And,
Exactly, that define the era,
yeah,
right?
I
So
remember.
ask yourself, Fire Nation, and Imata, ask yourself, what was the last true cultural moment like Ninja Man versus Merciless? What was the last live clash that defined an entire generation? Everybody give me silence. Like I said, it's
Movada versus Vice
important.
Cartel.
Yeah.
Oli versus Gaza. That was it.
No, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
before this, though, you see what I'm
I'm
saying?
saying when was the last time we really
Yeah,
got that was there.
yeah.
Oli versus
Facts,
Gaza, you know?
facts. So
15
these are the
years
things,
ago.
right? So these are the things that we need to talk about, right? So it's silent. So we are actually robbing the youth of experience that helped us to love our eras. You see what I'm saying? We're robbing them of this, right? No, this is fact based. The loss of economic ecosystem. We said that it's not just concerts. Reggae Sumfest alone, US 25 million plus the impact in peak years. Right? We talk about the hotels, the taxi, the stylists, the security, the food sellers. They all benefit. Right? When the festivals shrink or disappeared, Fire Nation, you don't just lose ticket sales, you lose vendor income, small business revenue, seasonal employment, and you miss tourism spikes. Okay? The culture stops feeding the people who sustain it. You cannot have the culture stop feeding the people who sustain it. If the Jamaican people are sustaining it with their talent, you see the dancehall artists, you see how talented they are. You see them sustaining the culture with their talent, but the culture stop feeding them. You want our people to leave? Thank God, most of them can't get visa because it would be a total talent drain. Do you know like how we have a brain drain in this country where a lot of doctors and nurses fly out and leave? So we had a little brain drain back in the day, and we still have it to a certain extent, right? Can you imagine if these artists were able to get them visa quickly or be able to visit countries without a visa easily, right? And prove themselves on some of those stages like the Euro fest and the sun splash there, right? And what's going on in Germany. Can you imagine? We would have a talent drain because all of them would have run gone, right? Because we don't have the infrastructure to protect what it is that they create for us, right? So this is what happens. The culture becomes less locally owned. When stage shows die, the first people to feel it are not just the artists, it's the everyday Jamaicans who eat from the culture as well. So that is that too, right? No, dancehall's DNA is competition. Regardless of what everybody says, oh, we don't want to clash. Oh, the loss of competitive edge. Dancehall was built on clashes, lyrical dominance, and crowd validation. It's a fact. Sting was the ultimate battlefield. Without these arenas, the artists no longer forced to sharpen their lyrics, defend their status, and outperform their rivals live. Yes, you can do it in your internet clash, but outperforming rivals live is something completely different. And here's a negative effect: the culture becomes less sharp. You get less lyrical warfare, you get less innovation under pressure, and you get more safe formula music. Now, yes, it's true, we do need to make it able to be exported and be able to pass the airport, right? But we don't want it to be where everything is watered down, where you just have formula music and there's no spontaneity, there's no artistry about it, right? Now, here is my fire thought. A culture without competition does not evolve, it settles. I'm going to say that again. A culture without competition does not evolve, it settles. The shift come from culture to content. This is one of the most important points. Festival era, culture, lived experience. Music, community ritual. Performance was identity. Now, the digital era, music is content. The artists are creators and the fans are just viewers. We need to have both. I understand that there's evolution, but you can't throw the baby with the bathwater. Imhotep, do you anything that you want to add?
I mean, I totally agree that we should really appreciate the root,
Mm-hmm.
of our dancehall culture, and just our musical culture in general, right? In terms of appreciating um the past and also embracing the future. Yes, it would be good to see the growth of the genre, even dancehall, in terms of like new acts and their impact, you know. But I guess everything goes through phases and stages.
Mhm.
However, yeah, it's important for us to appreciate the root and the past and the people who have done it, and also learn from them and emulate them as well. I think
Mhm.
that's where we fall short now. Back
Yeah.
then, what's this now? A Sean Paul, a Super Cat him a emulate. Vibes Cartel, Buju Bantan, or Ninja Man them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All these great artists, there were greats before them that they emulated, and as such, it contributed towards their formative years, to
Mhm.
who they are. I don't see a lot of that going on these days. Everybody, all right, want to be their own person. I get that. But yours, even though you emulate someone, you're still expressing your creative art in your own unique way.
That's right.
But I,
That's
I
right.
don't see like the younger generation, yeah, embracing the past and the greats and what they did, learning from them as well, and even
Exactly.
emulating some things as well. I just
Right.
wanted to say that.
Right. Learning from the greats. You have to learn from the greats in whatever industry you're in. It doesn't matter what. And if you're not humble enough to learn, then you have these people just sizing up. And you listen. You need to learn. You need to learn from others. You can be better. Right. So dancehall risks becoming consumed instead of experience. This is the problem, because a live stream is not a stage show. A clip is not a crowd, and a comment section, that is not a community. So this is my fire line. We are watching the culture instead of living it. We're watching it on the screens instead of actually going to the shows and having shows to actually live it. And we need to live it again. Now we also have a loss of global cultural power. What Reggae Sunsplash did, you don't forget about Reggae Sunsplash. Let me teach you younger people what Reggae Sunsplash did. Reggae Sunsplash introduces reggae. It introduced reggae to the world. It created global credibility for reggae, and it brought international media to Jamaica, right? So when you have fewer festivals like that globally, that means there's fewer international press moments, there's fewer cultural exports, and there's fewer tourism magnets, right? Jamaica risks losing control of its narrative. That's another big one. Because if the world doesn't come to Jamaica to experience dancehall, they will experience it filtered through their foreign festivals, the diaspora reinterpretation, and the diluted versions. That's what's been happening. If we don't host the culture, someone else will remix it. That is my quote. I'm
I
going to
just
say
want
it
to say this
again.
real quick, Miss
Okay,
Blue.
let me just say my quote one more time. If we don't host the culture, someone else will remix it. Yes, Imhotep, go ahead there.
Yes, you mentioned Reggae Sunsplash, and if memory serves me right, one of the most
Mhm.
iconic moments was Shabba Ranks landing there on a helicopter.
Yeah, you remember that? You remember that,
Shabba
Imhotep?
Ranks
Shabaran's
on
landing on a
a
helicopter.
helicopter at Sunsplash, and that was like what? That's iconic. That's
That was
historical,
iconic.
and
Yes.
it just shows the importance of these moments as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
And it showed to Imhotep. It goes to the macrocosm from the micro of the showmanship. Listen, the helicopter was just another step up of a ninja man just coming out in all I'm garb and just standing up there. Did you remember how they used to dress? It was spectacle. They were
Yeah, and
true
like Ninja Man
entertainment.
suit.
And
Ninja
they,
Man suit. Ninja Man a
they,
sword. A sword for the
Thank
skin
you.
Ninja
Sword
Man
and
have.
suit and team.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why the older artists too deserve respect, because they were true entertainers. That's why you can find a Mr. Fambo right now making the whole of TikTok laugh. You know why? He's a true entertainer. Him funny as hell. Him have a presence. You see what I'm saying? Even when you see, say, even a Mr. Vegas is a true entertainer. Him dance, him very well, him not really dance as good, but him funny and him can sing. He sing J. You see what I'm saying? And him know how to use a crowd. You see what I'm saying? And him make up for the dance with him energy. You see what I'm saying? So these were people. Being a Man is the same thing. These were people who understood that when you entertain, you have to be able to have that chemistry with the crowd. You're going to have a little humor, whatever works for you to actually hold the crowd. It wasn't just studio artists. You see what I'm saying? And they had to sharpen their teeth that way, right? So we lose a lot if the culture, if we don't host the culture, someone else will remix it, right? Now we are going to lose a lot of the cultural ownership energy. This is subtle, but it's powerful. When Jamaicans gather in large numbers for music, it reinforces the pride, the identity, and the ownership. It's a fact. When that becomes rare, the culture becomes something that you consume and not something that you own. I'm going to say that again. When that becomes rare, or culture becomes something that you consume and not something that you own, we ought to own what we create. And I've said this many, many times on many lives. This weakens our national cultural confidence. It weakens it. A culture that doesn't gather slowly forgets its own power. And that is my quote, and it's a fact, right? Less stage shows doesn't mean less music, but it does mean less culture. Because music can exist without stages. It's fine because you have it in your headphones, you have it on the media. Yes, music can exist without stages, but culture cannot thrive without the gatherings. Is a fact. So, Fire Nation, we did not just lose shows, we lost the places where greatness was proven, where legends were witnessed, and where Jamaica reminded herself of who she is. Because Jamaica is a she, because she gave enough products herself. Imoten, over to you, sir.
Well, as I say, they say don't kill the goose that lay the golden eggs. Right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, right. And I see where, in terms of our creative art, right, as it relates to dancehall and reggae in Jamaica, there's a lack of interest in terms of the support and the structure. And
Mhm.
sadly, we are seeing the regression of reggae and dancehall in terms of having these platforms, these stage shows, the Sumfest, Sunsplash, Sting, all these other platforms. St. Mary may come from. Even Beanie Man now is actually doing his, I think it's Summer Sizzle, whatever. Bounty used to have a saddle to the east. He'd have a West Kingston Jamboree.
Mhm.
You have shows at GT Taylor, them extravaganza. You
Mhm.
always had shows upon shows upon shows. No, it has been relegated to a seasonal thing where here in Easter time, yeah, you will have some shows. In the Independence Weekend time, from Emancipation Day in August to August 6th, you have a number of shows. After that, not much now go on. Then the Heroes Day weekend, you have some shows. And then Christmas time or Boxing Day and New Year's Eve, you have some shows. So, our culture has been relegated to a seasonal thing,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And that's a contributing factor as well, because just like now, right? In
Mhm.
Jamaica, in August 1st to the 6th, we'll have a number of shows that are Independence time. After that, not much going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
understand what
facts.
I'm
It's
saying?
facts. Facts,
The Heroes Day
100%.
weekend, yeah, you will have some shows here and there. After that, nothing else in late October, November, like that. December
Facts.
now, when a Christmas time and Boxing Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, that's when you have a number of shows. After that, you don't really have much again until Easter time. So, that's where we are at, unfortunately.
Facts. That's facts. That's facts. No, Fire Nation, I want you to listen to me. This is one of the most painful truths in the conversation about Jamaican music culture. And listen, if you don't hear anything that I said the whole night, please record this part. Sometimes other countries are preserving, scaling, and ritualizing Jamaican rooted live culture more consistently than Jamaica herself is right now. This is painful, right? That does not mean, let me say that again. Other countries are preserving, scaling, in other words, getting money and making it bigger, ritualizing Jamaican rooted life culture more consistently than Jamaica herself is right now. And Germany is doing a really great work of that, and we're going to go into it. That does not mean those countries own the culture more. It means they may currently be doing a better job of giving it stable physical platforms. Look to your government for this. Jamaica is still the source of reggae and dancehall. But when major Jamaican festivals are shrinking, pausing, or canceling, while overseas reggae dancehall festivals continue annually and at scale, the uncomfortable signal is that the homeland remains the cultural mother, but not always the most reliable host. This is a problem. Is a problem. Why are these people monetizing our product? Why are they what? And I'm not against them, I'm not fighting them, because guess what? It's good to spread it. But at the same time, why it is that we are not copying that infrastructure? They're copying our music. Why we can't copy them infrastructure and learn from it and actually protect what it is that we have? That distinction matters, Fire Nation, because culture has two different dimensions. And I'm going to give you the research papers that I read on this. Origin is who created it. That's us. Infrastructure is who is consistently staging it, funding it, protecting it, and giving it calendar performance. And calendar permanence. Calendar permanence is important. You know why? Because if I know that every year Germany going to have this big reggae fest, I can plan for that every year in July or August or whenever it is. I can plan for that because guess what? It's a calendar permanent. It's there every year. You understand? So when you have that infrastructure, you have more people turn up because people say, you know what, I didn't make it this year now, but I will make it next year. You see what I'm saying? Because it's permanent, right? So what do we really mean when we say other countries are keeping our events more, right? We're not saying that them literally copy Sumfest or Sting exactly. We're saying that other countries keep large annual reggae dancehall festival traditions going with consistency. They're sustainable. They preserve the ritual of gathering around Jamaican music. We are not preserving that ritual. And they sometimes provide this kind of scale, planning, and continuity that Jamaica is struggling to maintain right now. So the issue is not just who has a show, it is who has a dependable cultural machine. This is what I'm talking about. The sustainability, to be able to have the systems. Remember, we always talk about systems and business matters. We need to have the systems to maintain things, right? Dependable cultural machine. That is what it is that we need. Okay, and these other people are doing. Let's talk about Rotterdam Sunsplash. I want you guys to look it up because this is a shame. And you know what's funny? I spoke to a couple supposed to be lovers of the music. They don't know about Rotterdam Sunsplash. They think
Rotterdam, what?
Sunsplash is a thing of the past.
Oh no, but that's a big thing in Europe, though. Is it
That's what I'm saying.
it's in the let me see, Netherlands or one of those places, Rotterdam Sunsplash.
No, it's moved to Spain. It moved to
Oh, it
Spain.
moved to
It
Spain now.
started in
Okay,
Italy. It started in Italy, but then it moved to Spain.
right. Yeah,
Right?
it's a big thing in
Big, huge one.
it's huge in
It's
Europe. It
huge.
is.
It's,
Yes, you
it's,
you can mix
and then
them,
it's as
Spark
a
for them,
camping site
Junior
thing.
Gang them. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You see all them at those shows. Yeah, it's
yeah,
big. It's
and
big.
Japan too.
Yeah, it's big. It's big.
Big. You see what I'm saying? But they are monetizing and they are getting all of this, and people are planning to go to these venues. And guess what? If Jamaican artists start being able to go without visa, they're going to go to these places and prove themselves there, and we're going to lose even more. And this is another thing too. I'm going to cuss Spain a little bit. I'm going to cuss Spain because guess what? I want you guys to look it up. Okay? Spain right now gave some Caribbean, when I mention them name, I want you to look it up, gave some Caribbean countries free access without visas. Do you think Jamaica is one of those countries? No. No. But guess what? Jamaica was a Spanish colony first before it took over by the English. If anything, we should be on that list. We should be on that list to enter Spain without a visa. But we
Well,
are not.
you think so, Miss Bluefire, when King Charles is the head of state and places over Central America there, has visa free travel to the UK, but Jamaica, where the king is head of state, yeah, we
Exactly that too. No, no, no. But I understand that, because you know
right.
what happened. Guess what? We were able to go there before. It was free
Right.
and without restriction before. But because of the fact that we didn't take care of it, right? And because of all of the DRUGS and all of that stuff that
Right, right,
happened
right,
there, right?
right.
Them shut it down. So I understand that, but now it's changed. They should renew it. But this year, what I'm talking about, Spain recently, just this year or late last year, I forget, gave a lot of Caribbean islands free access without visa, but Jamaica is not on the list. And we were the first colony. Spain was the first colonizer of Jamaica, right?
Right.
And they have Rotom Sunsplash, the biggest reggae, one of the biggest reggae festivals, right?
True.
But then profit from every year, right? It officially started in Italy. It later moves into it to Spain. Its official site, sorry, announced the 30th anniversary edition in 2025. You see what I'm saying? And they describe it as a multi-day international reggae institution drawing huge global attendance. A multi-day international reggae institution. You hear how them describe themselves? You can go on the website. That's where I took it from. Why don't we have this? Now, why does this matter for us, Fire Nation? Spain is not the birthplace of reggae. Jamaica is. But Spain is hosting one of the world's most durable, large scale reggae gatherings with the kind of continuity that signals institutional security. We do not have institutional security, no infrastructure, no support from the government. That means reggae's global ceremonial life is being powerfully maintained outside of our island. That is what that means. Just like everything that we have as a gem, we're going to lose it. Here, Jamaica, look at what's happened to the farmers. Look at what's happened to the land. Look at what's happening with bauxite. Look at what happened with coffee. Everything that we have.
Let's look at the sugar cane,
Look at the sugar cane,
banana.
right? The
Yeah,
banana,
true.
right? Everything that we have, Imhotep, it's like we don't take care of it, and other people say, okay, you know, don't take care of it. Want it, can't get it, don't want it, we'll take it. But
Yeah,
look at the contrast, Imhotep. While Rotterdam continues with long form staging, Jamaica in 2076, a one night Sumfest special. No rebel salute in Jamaica for 2026. And reports that Sting 2025 was cancelled. That does not diminish Jamaica's authorship of the culture, but it highlights a difference in festival stability. We need the stability.
right.
Then that is the big, deep cultural wound. The homeland is becoming less structurally dependable than some foreign hosts, right? That have their own music traditions. That is not
Right.
an only an inference. Sorry, go ahead.
Just to put it in a nutshell, and
Yeah.
I know Mr. Vegas have a show over Spain. I'm not sure if it's Rotterdam Splash, but I know he's going over there now because he's in
Mhm.
Europe right now, right? Um,
Yeah.
my point here is this: the people outside the culture, in terms of the local Jamaican space, they value the product more than we do. You understand what
Yeah.
I say?
Exactly.
They value it more than we do because we are not even investing in a lot of these type of shows to ensure that there's continuity.
Right.
A rebel salute, if them say, well, they can't keep that area, there's no oh my gosh, it has to go on. There's no
Right.
interest in the continuity of these shows.
Right.
You know, even from a state perspective, to say, well, these are national staples, and you know they are part of our national cultural heritage,
Exactly.
and as such, one way or the other, the show must go on. There's not that interest from our perspective.
Exactly. And you know what, Imhotep, and I'm gonna say this, and this is why too, like uh, that's why too I was telling somebody, because somebody was saying something, what how them don't believe entertainers must go into politics. And I said that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because the politics does affect their job. Politics affect everybody's job. Everybody should be a part of politics, even though you're not in the middle of it. You should at least know about it and actually have a voice in it, right? Because can you imagine if these entertainers get the ears of the politicians and start to say, listen, what are we doing about our culture when it comes to our music? What are we doing about the infrastructure for our music for the future, right?
Right.
And as I said, even have it as a curriculum in schools, and have the schools in have the schools introduce these entertainers to teach the
Oh,
students. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what happened.
yeah.
I
Yes.
went telling a story, and this is a true story, and you can check. You know the lady named Statius?
Yeah, man.
She was my friend at St. Hugh's High. Well, not really my friend, but she was my friend in St. Hugh's High. She was in the same Spanish class as me. Her name was Stacy Ann Brown. Okay. I remember our Spanish teacher's name was Mr. Brown, and he couldn't stand her, could not stand one bone in our body, right? Classism, okay? And I remember when he went around the class, they was saying, what you want to be when you grow up. And you can ask her this because I remember this. And I remember feeling bad for her because I was right beside her in the classroom, right? And she said to him, she's going to be a dancer artist. And him look at her and him skin up him and say, fitting, we'll see if you make it. That's
Right.
what he said to that girl.
Right.
Right? That's what he said to her because she said that. So he looked at it with such scorn. I think we were like in second or third form at that time, right? Because I was still wearing, the full blue tunic. I wasn't wearing the white shirt yet, and the blue shirt, the blue skirt. I should never make it to upper sixth form, right?
Right.
But right. So and the way how him look at her and him said to her, fitting. We'll see if you make it. And now she's stacious. Let me
Right.
tell you another one. There's another who this was my good friend, Janine Cunningham. Janine Cunningham used to sing, and I used to sing to her. Me and her we would sing together, but she used to sing on the choir. Her father was the reverend and the deacon of St. Hugh's High, right? Janine have a beautiful voice, always loved reggae, was never encouraged at St. Hugh's. Guess who Janine became? Janine. That is Janine Cunningham, the Rasta girl.
Right. Right.
When I knew her ear cream, our father was a deacon at St. Hugh's. I'm telling you these things. So people, women and men or Jamaican youth, they have dreams, they have music inside of them, right? And there was a lot more, right? And luckily those two got out and got them gift outside of them. But can you imagine if the school setting actually encouraged it? Can you imagine if the school setting actually encouraged the learning of the actual industry? How many of their careers would have gone further because they understand how the system and how the business is supposed to work?
Right.
How
So
many of them would not be scammed because they understand that split sheets are important and they need to take up a pen before they take up a mic? This is what I'm talking about. And I
right.
can verify everything that I said.
Just a
100%
quick
true.
just a
Yeah,
quick perspective on the notion about artists or entertainers should not become politicians, right?
right. Foolishness.
All right. If we look at even Jamaica, most of the politicians, right?
Mhm.
None of them even went to college and did political science or stuff like that. They are doctors and lawyers and whatever, whatever. Ronald Reagan became president of the United States, and he
Yeah,
was a Hollywood actor,
that's
right?
right.
We can look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, who became the governor of California, right? We can look at Shine, who was around Puff Daddy, who go spend time and whatever, and him leave and go back and him turn politician, right? Juliet
Yeah,
Cuthbert Flynn right now is a member of parliament in the government. That you can feel them they do. Most
yeah,
of the other people, they were never like career politicians at all. Patrick Roberts did a run against Andrew Holness, and he did a deal with music production and them something there. So it's like when it comes on to entertainers should not be politicians. Listen to me, they have a platform and they have a voice as well. As long as what is being said, is beneficial and it makes sense.
that's
Yeah,
right.
anybody can be a politician.
That's
Trust me.
right.
Yeah,
DL says they don't want others to learn the business. I agree with that. Remember, the people in charge are the ones taking advantage of some of the people, and that's true too. But that is why we need
right,
to educate everybody, DL. That's why we need to put it in the schools. You see what I'm saying? It is our cultural product, right? Now we talk about the Rotterdam Sun Splash. We soon finish, people, because we're more than halfway gone, right? Here's another example: Summer Jam in Germany. Look at Summer Jam in Germany. Why can't we do that? Germany's Summer Jam has another kind of importance. It is not a Jamaican branded festival by name, but it is an annual reggae dancehall festival with a long life. Okay? Official and reference sources, mostly taken from summerjam.de. This is where I took it from. I'm gonna give it all the references, right? Then describe it as running in Cologne. With that, Cologne is a place, right? Is a place in Germany with roots going back to 1986, right? When Imhotep was 4 years old, right? And the 2025 reporting and the 2026 official side show it continuing as a major annual event. So people can plan for it every year. They know it's going to keep. One source actually pegged 2025 attendance around 28,000 people.
Right. I
And
remember
another one,
Startel was there last year too.
right, and another one says 30,000 people from across Europe came together around reggae, dancehall, and a little bit of hip hop. The lesson is not that Germany is more than Jamaica or more Jamaican than Jamaica. No. The lesson is that Germany has managed to maintain a predictable annual space where Jamaican rooted genres remain live, social, and monetizable. This is the problem. I don't mind them monetizing of our stuff, but we need to monetize more of our stuff. We are the creators of it. That matters because continuity itself becomes power, right? Tie it back to our main Fire Nation principle here. What was I talking about? That matters because
Yeah, we were
continuity
talking about Summer
itself.
Jam in Germany.
Yeah, but I know I'm reading the note that I gave myself. Tie it
Right.
back to our main Fire Nation principles here. That matters because continuity itself becomes power. Yes, continuity itself becomes power. What is the main Fire Nation principle? Sustainability. If you cannot sustain it, it don't make a sense to start. All right, unless you plan it to be short term. Right now, think about it, Fire Nation. If fans know that every year there's a large reggae dancehall gathering will happen, then the country hosting it becomes part of the culture's global pilgrimage map. Why? Because we're going to take that pilgrimage every year to Germany to enjoy that reggae and dancehall music. The people who can travel or the people who cannot afford it. You see what I'm saying? So we need to have that in Jamaica. We need to have it sustainable. We need to have it sure for every year, so everybody can come to Jamaica every year and them say that, you know what, I know the Rebel Salute going to keep. I know that thing. I know that Sumfest going to be 3 nights. We're going to stay for it. We're going to go back next year, right? It's fact. That's why it's called a ritual. These things are very important with music and entertainment, right? Jamaica should naturally dominate that map, but right now it is sharing that role with places that are simply proving more operationally steady. They're more steady, they have more infrastructure, their government supports them more, they have more venues, they have better venues, they don't fight the artists when it come on to getting permits, them support the artists more, right? 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 Tie in why most other countries can't go there without visas. Yeah, a customer for it. Right? Number 3, Belgium. Don't forget Belgium. Okay? Belgium with Reggae Gill. Belgium Reggae Gill is another strong example. The official site, reggaegill.com, go look it up. The official site brands itself as one of Europe's oldest and biggest reggae festivals, right? The 2025 coverage shows a real multi-artist reggae and dancehall lineup with Protege, Lila Ike, Alpha Blondie, Steel Pulse, and a lot more others. Why does this matter to us culturally, Fire Nation? Belgium is helping to preserve a festival habit around Jamaican music. A festival habit. I want you to look it up. Festival habit. Fire Nation. You know what that means? That means the music is not only played, it is seasonally embodied. Fans travel for it. They can predict it. Artists schedule for it. The media schedule to cover it. The younger audiences, they will inherit it. The vendors then build them life support around it. That is how a scene becomes durable, right? And that is the exact kind of durability that Jamaica cannot take for granted anymore, or we're going to lose everything that we create. Like here, Jamaica, we're going to lose all of our gems. When Jamaica loses the festival continuity, Europe does not stop. Fire Nation, them still going. You think Europe saying, oh, just because Sunsplash was only 1 day, and oh, them never have Sting, and oh, Rebel Salute never keep. So that means that, you know what? Make we stop too. You know what? The main country only have 1 night, so maybe we shouldn't go this year. No, they continue. Europe does not stop, Fire Nation. Europe keeps building memory around our Jamaican genres. Over time, that can shift where people instinctively think the biggest dependable reggae gathering points are. So people are going to just start saying, ah, can't bother with Sumfest, yeah, man. I'm going to Belgium. I can't bother with Sumfest. I'm going to Spain. You understand? Because that's a dependable reggae gathering points. Because right now, people don't know whether to plan for to come down to Sunsplash next year, if it's going to be 3 nights or it's one night. People don't know if Sting is going to keep 2026. People don't know if Rebel Salute is going to be next year, January again. Nobody knows, so them cannot plan. So the media can't plan. So you get less money injected, you get less promoters ready and sponsors ready. This is what happens, is a trickle-down effect. And it all comes from a lack of respect from for the genre, especially from the government. It is interference. Okay? It is interference. Now, Imatep, before I go into the UK, the Notting Hill Carnival, which is another big one, is there anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, just to add that Sting is like we are pretty much in August. We're approaching August, you know. August is next week.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have heard nothing from Sting.
fact.
The past 2 years, one cancel, we don't hear nothing about the next one, and things like that. Yeah, so we don't even know if there'll be a Sting. So it just shows that in Jamaica, yes, the shows are dying out, while globally the appeal is there because we see all our artists them at tour, and
Mhm.
they are not going to no shows where it's some rock band. No, it's reggae dancehall. Reggae dancehall. Yes, you might have other acts that are not reggae and dancehall, but it's an amalgamation of reggae, dancehall, and other genres.
That's
So
right.
the appeal globally is there. Locally, yeah, we're really playing around with it. We don't take it serious.
That's right. Now, the Notting Hill Carnival is not a reggae festival in the narrow sense, but is one of the biggest examples of Caribbean, including reggae and dancehall, right? That is actually thriving outside of the Caribbean, right? The official borough information described the 2025 event by the numbers terms, while other reporting and reference material put attendance around 2 million, and noticed that reggae and dancehall were the core sounds on that road. Fire Nation, these facts can be found here. Look at this. Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. Type that into Google. I'm going to give you the references anyway. And you can see that it was 2 million people. Because what does it mean when one of the biggest recurring Caribbean cultural gatherings in the world, 2 million people, is in London and not in Kingston? It means the diaspora spaces have become major custodians of our public Caribbean ritual. That is poor. I don't mind them doing it, but we need to do better. Again, they're not owners, custodians of staging. And this is where the issue gets uncomfortable for our little country, Jamaica. The UK can reliably gather massive crowds around the Caribbean sound system culture, while Jamaica has recently seen some of its marquee live institutions reduced, paused, or cancelled. The comparison, Fire Nation, is not flattering. Now we're going to go to Japan, just like what Tex was saying. Yes, yes, Tex, and yes, Jamaican vibe sent. Right? Yes, Japan. Right? Japan has sustained reggae dancehall culture. A matter of fact, Imatep had a friend one time who lives in Japan, and he always talk about the dance, the reggae scene there, and how everybody love it, and them have festival, them have shows all the time. Right?
Right, right.
Japan is another major example, especially for sound system and dancehall culture. Right? The 2025 Grammys feature on Japanese reggae describe the country's long and deep engagement with Jamaican music, and other sources note that Japan still hosts reggae events such as Yokohama Reggae Sai and the broader Jamaican theme festival activity. Them still have it. The Reggae Sunsplash history page, you go and look at it. It also says that the Sunsplash tour in Japan grew substantially in the 1990s, with over 30 dates in 1996 and close to 100,000 total people on the summer leg. You can find it here. I'm going to give you the link. This is it from
Right.
Grammy.com /news /Japan. I talk
And
about
there
from
was Japan, Splash as well, right?
right, right.
I'm
So
not sure if you remember seeing Tiger
yes,
in Japan, or you see Mr. Vegas in Japan. And
yes,
no, that was crazy.
crazy,
Yep,
crazy. So
yep.
look at this article. It's from Trenchtown to Tokyo, the rhythm of Japanese reggae. Look it up. I love these articles because honestly, it open it give me it. I like to read things because it make me feel like I'm in a different place,
Right.
right? Big up yourself, Renee leave it. Greetings, Miss Blue Fire and chat. Big up Renee leave it. Good to see you. Right? All right. Now, Japan is thousands of miles from Jamaica, yet it has shown repeated willingness to organize, attend, and ritualize Jamaican music at scale. This tells you something important. The appetite for Jamaican culture is not the problem. We are the problem. The Jamaican government, the Jamaican society is the problem. The appetite for our culture is not the problem. People eat it up. They eat it up so much that it's doing so well in other countries, right?
You had Mighty Crown, Miss Bluefire. Sorry to cut you. You
Yeah,
had Mighty Crown, And
yeah,
Mighty Crown was a sound system, from Japan, right?
yeah,
And in those days as well, I think a couple of years ago, them kind of retired now.
yeah.
But Mighty Crown was one of the big sounds they mag up on the sound clash. And in Japan, the sound clash culture was fully active. How
But
did that benefit us? The DJ them with the dub them.
yeah,
Listen me, a man just going to a studio for the day and he can buy a house when him left out.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
they want a dub where him do for all them the sound system and them some the inner Japan.
That's right. That's right. That's right. 100%. 100%. And that's not a small thing, right? That's not a small thing, right? This is the issue, Fire Nation. I'm going to say it again. It's the domestic infrastructure required to hold it consistently at home. That is the issue, right? Right? We need to have that. We can't be falling so short, especially when you compare us to overseas continuity when it comes to with Jamaican contraction. In other words, Jamaicans contracting, we're shrinking, and the overseas people are growing, scaling, and continuing with our thing. What does this mean symbolically? When overseas countries keep the gathering tradition alive more consistently than the source country of Jamaica, several things happen. First, the center of gravity shifts from the origin to the organization. The center of gravity going to shift from Jamaica, the origin, to the organization, to where it actually is stable. Jamaica remains the creative source, but foreign territories start to look like the more dependable places to actually experience the music in festival form. Because we don't know when our festivals might keep or if they can keep or ever again. Second, the diaspora and the foreign promoters, they gain more influence over the narrative. They gain more influence over the packaging of our music. And they gain more influence over our memory. Why? If the big, dependable annual moments happen abroad, then more of the public story about reggae, dancehall gets shaped abroad too. It's fact, it's starting to happen. That is an inference that's true, but it follows logically from where the recurring mass gatherings are being maintained. 2 million people, 100,000 people, right? Third, the young artists may start needing foreign validation more than local trial by fire. You know, I'm gonna pause here for a second because this is the part that pisses me to high hell off, right? This is why our artists crave the validation from all of these other charts. You know why? Because we don't have our own, right? So now the young artists then going to start needing foreign validation more than the local trial by fire because we don't have it. If Jamaica has fewer major proving ground stages like Sting and like Sumfest, artists increasingly build their legend through international festivals. That's why them tour so much. The diaspora shows, the viral online moments. That changes the texture of artist development, or we need to be able to test our artists by the fire to have the cultural moments. You understand? Fourth, there's an economic leakage. The economic leakage grows. The money that could have circulated through Jamaican hotels, Jamaican transport, the vendors, the crews, and the local tourism gets captured elsewhere where the biggest dependable gatherings happen, which is elsewhere. We already know Sumfest has been discussed in Jamaica in terms of large economic impact. When fewer local festivals happen, some of that wider cultural spending ecosystem inevitably, migrates abroad, right? We almost finished. But in truth, Fire Nation, other countries are not keeping Jamaica's culture better in every sense. Okay, now this is the light at the end of the tunnel. But I want you to understand, other countries may currently be keeping the festival machinery more consistently because they have the funding and they have the backing and the infrastructure. They are not replacing Jamaica as the source of our language, the source of our street energy, the source of our social codes or our lived context or cultural authorship. Now, let me say this. I'll stick a pin here. This is why cultural impact is so very important still in our genre and in dancehall. That's why cultural impact is so important, right? Because we are still the source of the language, the street energy, and the social codes and the lived context. Everything else can be copied, and it is copied. A festival in Spain can host reggae magnificently. Mwah. Chef's kiss. A carnival in London can celebrate Caribbean sound massively. Over 2 million people. A festival in Germany can stage dancehall reliably. 100,000 people want to go every year. But none of those places can fully reproduce what Jamaica means to the music as source, pressure chamber, and spiritual home. So the issue is not cultural replacement. The issue is cultural displacement of our public ritual and our ritual spaces. That is what I want you guys to know. We have the magic. We need to protect it. And listen, one day the bucket drop out. The bucket don't drop out the bucket bottom don't drop out at one time. But slowly by slowly, surely by surely, we're going to lose what we have if we don't pull up our socks and get serious about it and hold our cultural people who get all this money, these politicians and the Minister of Culture, right? Hold them accountable to one of our greatest exports. I'm almost done, but Imatep, is there anything that you want to add?
Well, as I said before,
Yeah,
there's a lot of cultural appropriation that has taken place within our dancehall and reggae, right? And I think we have not approached the protection of these genres, right,
right.
as seriously as we should. Because you do have other genres where, okay, then they might not be that dominant. But we are fighting two battles. One, there's a lot of cultural appropriation. You have a lot of these promoters are not has no affiliation with the culture or anything like that either, right? But I'm talking about like the overseas promoters. A lot of these
Mm-hmm,
shows and stuff like that, they have no cultural affiliation, nothing like that, right?
mm-hmm.
Locally, we are not giving it the attention it deserves. So we are fighting on two fronts. There's the
That's right.
cultural appropriation and there's the local neglect or internal neglect. So
Right.
yeah, it's a two-prong assault, so to speak.
Facts. Tex said that he used to be a selector. I did not know that,
Yep,
Tex. No
never
wonder
knew
you
that
know the
either.
music. So I
Oh
never
yeah,
know that.
never big
Makes
up Tex,
sense.
man.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So here's the deepest danger. The deepest danger is not that foreigners love Jamaican culture. That part is beautiful. Of course, I want you to love our culture. The deeper danger is this. If Jamaica does not consistently stage its own music at scale, the world may continue to revere Jamaica as the birthplace while increasingly relying on other countries as the main places to physically gather around what it is that we produce. This is an inference that's true, but it is exactly the pattern suggested by the current Jamaican disruptions and the long continuity of the major festivals that are overseas. That is a major cultural warning sign. And I don't understand why it is that people are not panicking. Why is it that people are not upset or panicking? Sometimes I wonder if people are not seeing what I'm seeing.
No,
This
they
is
just
a
don't care.
major cultural warning sign, Imhotep,
They just
right?
don't
And
care.
Fire Nation. Huh?
No, I'm saying they don't care. All right, you see, if we care,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, we will react to the warning signs. But I think it's a lack of
Lack
interest.
of respect and a lot of care. Right. Because I'm still see it as boogie and music in a lot of way. Big up yourself, Francisco Te. Good morning to you. Well, it's good night for us, but it's good morning to you. No, we're almost finished Fire Nation. Now, the birthplace without infrastructure can become symbolic power without the practical control. So we're not going to benefit and profit from from what we produce anymore. Now, here's my heart to heart with the next generation, you people that are listening, because you are where all my hope lies. Jamaica still gave the world the sound, but right now, some other countries are doing a better job of protecting the gathering spaces around that sound. And if the homeland doesn't keep its own stages alive, then slowly the world will keep coming to Jamaica for authenticity, but go elsewhere for consistency. What does that mean? We have a lot of culture vultures. We're gonna have a lot of artists that come down and friend up the Jamaicans and smoke weed and go on them TikTok and go to street dance and learn the slang and learn the vibe and go elsewhere and perform it and go elsewhere for consistency and put their money elsewhere. That's what's going to happen. Okay, I want to remind you of what Sunsplash looked like back in the day. Remember, this is the first one, I think, with Peter Tosh, Third World Band, Burning Spear, Bob Marley, right? Sunsplash, right? This is a crowd of Sunsplash, right? Right? Now I want to break down what Sunsplash is for Jamaica.
Miss Bluefire, just 1 second there. All right. So YouTube has this new feature where people can send jewels, right? You're looking at the chat sometime, it's not highlighted,
Let me
right?
look. What is jewels?
A super thanks. But I've seen a number of people who have been sending that little gifting.
Oh, I'm just seeing it now. One State
Right.
Podcast. Big up One State Podcast.
Right. And if you go back in, you will see that there are a number of those gifts sent to you.
I didn't see them. I didn't.
I know.
I apologize, Fire Nation. I'm so sorry. Like honestly, I get so involved in the teaching that sometimes, like, I'm still learning, guys, and I'm getting better. I'm learning how to monitor both the chat and the thing. But I didn't know about the jewels. 2 jewels, 20 jewels. Wow, thank you. I don't know what it means, but thank you very much. And thank you, Renee Lever, for 2 jewels. Silver Star, 100 jewels.
It's a gifting YouTube.
It's a gifting. Okay.
Yeah, it's a part of the gifting thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, everybody. I don't think that I take it for granted. I do not. I really am learning this thing as we go. What I'm good at is the teaching and the researching and the communicating. But learning the how to manage it that way, I'm still learning. So thank you for your grace and your patience. Right now, we want to break down what Sumfest is for Jamaica, and we have to remind the people this, but this is critical. Yes, it was the first global reggae festival. People don't know that. It was marketed as the biggest reggae festival in the world. It helped create the summer tourist season. That's true. Hotels used to close before it, before Sunsplash. Hotels used to close left, right, and center. And especially that time, look at what was happening politically at that time. It brought international media and fans into Jamaica. Sunsplash literally exported reggae to the world, as I said before. Now its expansion out of Jamaica. Here's where things started to shift. In '85, Sunsplash expanded into international touring versions, right? Germany hosted Sunsplash style shows in the late 80s, 90s. The moment, this is the business insight that I want Fire Nation to get. Because when I tell people these facts, they're like, yeah, I know that. So here's the business insight. The moment Sunsplash left Jamaica, it proved that reggae could survive anywhere. That is what I'm not getting. This is what it proved, right? And that is why people say, oh, really? Oh, it is a viable market? What? Oh, we're going to take it for it. And them don't have the structure for it. Oh, we know how to run it. We'll do it. That is what happened, right? And that should have been our first sign to say, you know what happened? Since them love it so much, make we protect it. Now, let's talk about why it declined in Jamaica. Yes, at that time too, you look at the politics, what was going on. But there is no one cause, right? Rising costs and logistics, that's true. The large-scale festivals, it was an expensive infrastructure that we did not have. Jamaica had limited, consistent support systems from the government. 2, it was tourism dependency. It relied heavily on international travel, is fact. So any dip in tourism was a major financial hit. And if you look at the times, and we had a lot of political strife during certain times, so that actually affected. Number 3, competition plus fragmentation. Other festivals emerged, Sumfest later. Global reggae events began compete with the Sunsplash. And because of the institutional weakness, this is the big one, Sunsplash did create the model, but Jamaica did not fully institutionalize it long term. What are we doing to and for our culture, people? Sunsplash create the business model, That was the business model, that Germany, France, Japan, and Spain ran with. Because they realized that, oh, we can profit from it too. Okay, we can do it better than you. And they did, and they are. Look at Summer Jam, the adoption built in Germany. Do you know what these are? Encampments. You know what this is? They're not homeless people. People actually go to Summer Jam with them tents because they're going to spend more than one night and they make it a big event. It's kind of like Burning Man, but not Burning Man without the Burning Man. You guys know what Burning Man is in California, right? Where people go there for the events and them carry them sleepers and them tents and stuff and they make it a big high festival. This was like a big hippie festival for them in Germany. It still is. Okay. Founded in 1986. It started as a small one-day event. It was only 2,000 people. Where did I get this information from? Eurotravel. Look it up. Summer Jam Reggae. Eurotravel.com/explore. That was inspired by the reggae culture, the travel, and the exposure to Jamaican music. A lot of them came down here too, right? What Summer Jam became now, it runs every year since 1986. How much it draw? 30,000 to 50,000 people, right? Them attend annually. Them expand it to 3 days. They have multiple stages. They have a camping culture, like I was just showing you. It is now one of the biggest reggae dancehall festivals in Europe. Now look at where it started. 86 in Germany, 2,000 people, a one-day event. But they had the infrastructure to help it to grow. And now it is one of the biggest tourism things in Germany. Why it is that we don't have that? Don't we need that? Don't we need to draw 30 to 50,000 people? Don't we need that tourism injection in our country? Don't we need our people to know that them can attend annually? Right? It got so big that them had to expand it to 3 days and have multiple stages. Right? It's fact. That is what scaling does. That is what infrastructure does. We're almost done. Here is the critical detail. Germany did not invent reggae. Of course it did not. But guess what Germany did? They built stable infrastructure. They built predictable scheduling. They built repeatable systems. They built long-term planning. Okay? And here's the part that most people don't fully understand. Fire Nation. This is the Fire Connection. Summer Jam and similar festivals exist because Sunsplash proved the model. I'm going to say that again. Summer Jam and all those other similar festivals exist because Sunsplash proved the business model. What's the evidence? Sunsplash tours reached Europe. German promoters saw the demand. Early German reggae festivals even used Sunsplash style lineups. You can check it out if you don't believe me. So what's the translation of that? Jamaica created the blueprint, but Europe is building the factory. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Big up yourself, Mr. G. Big up yourself, Mr. G. Wait, is this live? Because I see some folks saying good morning. Yeah, I think they're from England, Mr. G. They're from England because we have Fire Nation people from all over. Right? Right? No. Before I go on, Imhotep, we're at the last section. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, man, you can go ahead. I'm listening.
No, why they left and why they thrive abroad. Why Sunsplash couldn't sustain in Jamaica. We said that. The venue challenges. We had logistics issues, right? We had inconsistent long-term planning. We had the economic vulnerability. We were heavily reliant on the tourism and the fluctuating funding support because the government and the sponsors and the political climate at the time too. And we have the lack of institutional continuity. The Jamaican government don't see our festivals as something, as a staple. They see it as, oh, if you can do it, you can do it, and you can make it a permit, and you can do it, right? They don't see it as a staple, right? Now imagine if our country get injected properly the right way with these type of tourism dollars, right? They will have to fix the roads. Think about it. Listen, I want you to see Fire Nation, and this is what I want to say to you. Fire Nation, you guys know how I think. I like to connect the dots. Okay? I like to connect the dots. And that's how I want you guys to think too. We have to be thinking solution-based thinking. If we had these festivals that were growing to 30,000, 50,000, and everybody, the Germans, everybody was coming here and injecting our culture with their foreign money, they would have to fix the roads because that would be a liability. They don't see it as a liability for us. But make a tourist come here or on one of those buses going to with the venues and it's pure patrol or the bridge not working or acid and cow fat. Do you think that they would make it pretty?
Just to add to that point for a second,
Yes.
Like the week of Sumfest, there were actually 2 new additional toll booths being erected
Yes.
to facilitate the flow of traffic going down to
Yeah.
down the center side. So it just goes to show that, as you rightfully say, if there is the market and there's the event going on, the infrastructure will be put in place to accommodate it.
Exactly. Imhotep. Exactly. Right. But we can't. We don't want to put the cart before the horse. Right. We want to have the infrastructure there so the people. That's why in business they have the thing: build it and they will come. We need to build the infrastructure to support the people coming. You see what I'm saying? Now, why does it thrive in Germany? I want you to look at it because I'm looking at it in a business sense. Predictability is the same time every year in July. The fans plan the trips years in advance. Just like with World Cup, they know it's going to happen every 4 years. Them plan them trips and the Olympics. Them plan them trips years in advance. The infrastructure. Germany have the transport systems. They have the camping systems. They have the venue control. That reduces the risks to the promoters. If you have those systems intact, the promoters take on less risks and they will be more likely to invest and to push these things going on. This is why I'm saying you guys can't cut off your nose to spite your face and think that, oh, my little selfish way, it don't affect me. Oh, it does. Trickle down, it does affect you. It does affect you. The infrastructure and the lack thereof does affect the promoters' jobs, right? Because they take less risk. The government and the city integration. This is why Summer Jam thrives in Germany. They generate millions for the local economy, 10 to 15 million euros annually. And where did I get that from? It's taken from Euro Travelo. I looked it up. Look, Summer Jam Reggae. Go to eurotravelo.com/explore/ Summer Jam Reggae Festival in Germany. This is where I got this information from. Right? City benefits create city supports. Almost finished, people. Then you have the cultural positioning. Germany treats reggae as experience culture, which it is. Experience culture, not just music, not just headphones, not just on the screen. There's camping, there's community, there's lifestyle, right? Even though we don't have to have the camping, we still have the community, we still have the lifestyle, right? Then we have the audience behavior. Europeans travel for festivals consistently. It's a part of the European culture, to be honest. Europeans, them love to travel for festivals, right? Consistently. Yes, it's facts that we have a lot of travel issues, but they will come here. If we build it, they will come, right? Multi-day festival culture is normal. And listen, you see, if they come, guess what happened? Blue Hole full up. Dolphin Cove full up. The Jerk Fest place them, the Jerk Lab them full up. You get more money into the system. Okay, it affects other parts of tourism as well. The liquor sales go up. This is the hardest truth. We're almost done. Right? Sunsplash shows the world reggae. Summer Jam proved the world could organize it better. Jamaica created the culture emotionally, but Europe is sustaining it structurally and monetizing from it. What does this mean for Jamaica? The loss of cultural control. If our biggest festivals are abroad and most stable platforms are abroad, then we will love to talk about if then the global fans experience reggae more outside of Jamaica. We cannot afford that. 2, the same thing I talk about, economic leakage. Money that could circulate in Jamaica with the hotels, the vendors, the transport, it goes to Germany, it goes to Spain, and it goes to the UK. Now there's a shift in artist validation. Artists now, them prove themselves in Europe festivals and they build crowds abroad, right? Them always on tour instead of being tested first at home. There's a cultural narrative risk. If others host the culture more, then they influence the presentation of the culture, they influence the pacing, the packaging of the culture. Reggae Sunsplash showed the world that what Jamaican culture looks like. But Summer Jam showed the world how to run it every year without fail. I'm sorry that I had to write that quote, but it's a fact. Summer Jam has been consistent, and every year they have scaled and made humongous profit without fail. So Sunsplash gave it a blueprint, what Jamaican culture look like, and they are benefiting from it. Why does this matter so much culturally? This is where the lesson becomes bigger than Sunsplash, right? Yes, you know what Sunsplash proved? That Jamaica can create a global cultural product. The archival narrative says its impact was so wide that there are now more than 100 annual reggae festivals and cruises worldwide. That is how impactful the reggae and Jamaican and dancehall festivals are. There are now more than 100 annual reggae festivals and cruises worldwide. In other words, Jamaica invented a model that the world has copied and they are monetizing. Fire Nation, hear me clear. Invention is not the same as institutionalization, and monetization. This is why a lot of, even from in the past, a lot of Black people invented things, but they were not able to monetize it. A lot of women invented things, but they were not able to monetize it because it had to be a man's name. It's fact. That is a painful lesson. Jamaica created the blueprint, but did not build enough long-term structure around the original blueprint to guarantee its survival at home. That's the problem. Again, our Fire Nation lesson of sustainability holds true. We create the blueprint, but we never put the respect on it of what we created. We never put the respect onto what we created enough to build long-term structure around what it is that we created to guarantee its survival. And once that happens, other countries with stronger event systems will preserve the ritual more reliably than the birthplace can. Second generation, next generation, please hear what I'm saying. Please hear what I'm saying. If you care about the culture, if you care about the music, this is where the problem is. This is where you need to hold the people in power accountable. Hold them accountable. Okay? Here's the fire teaching. Infrastructure instability. That is what we're going through. That meant Sunsplash kept having to fight venue. They kept having to fight hotel and logistic problems instead of operating from a stable production base. The economic vulnerability, that meant the festival depended heavily on tourism and the ecosystem benefits, while its own financial base remained weak due to inconsistent sponsorship and inconsistent support. That is directly from the government not doing what it's supposed to do. Then there's the lack of institutional continuity. That meant that Sunsplash became culturally huge without becoming structurally untouchable. You cannot get so big that you cannot manage it. Ownership conflict that happened with Sunsplash too. There was takeover pressure and there was financial strain, right? All of that points to that. You guys can look up the history of Sunsplash, right? This is my thinking. Sunsplash did not collapse because reggae was weak. Sunsplash declined because the institution around reggae was weaker than the culture itself. That's my quote, not a quote. The festival was globally influential, it was nationally valuable, and it was structurally vulnerable at the same time. Now, let me say that again. It's the same thing what's going on with dancehall. Globally influential, nationally valuable, but structurally vulnerable at the same time. This can happen. And it's happening right now to dancehall. Sunsplash built a season, they built a market, and they built a memory. But it did not build enough protection around its own future. That is something that we have to learn in business matters. And that's what we teach in business matters. And that's what I want Fire Nation to learn. Whatever you build, you must have a moat around it to protect it. This is chess, people. You must have a moat around what you build to protect what you build. Have to. Have to. Or it's vulnerable all the time. You can build anything great. But if you don't have protection around what it is they're building, it is structurally vulnerable. And the vipers will take it. Okay? So we're not learning. Second generation after me, please learn. Now, we're done now. Here are the questions I need you, Fire Nation, to think about. Who gets to host reggae and dancehall most reliably? Who gets the money? Who decides what success looks like? And who frames the culture for the world? This is my overall view. Jamaica has not lost ownership of reggae or dancehall, but when some of the biggest and most stable live platforms, are outside Jamaica, the country risks losing part of the practical control that comes from hosting, monetizing, and narrating the culture at scale. That is especially relevant right now because Sumfest 2026 edition has been reduced to a one-night special in St. Anne after hurricane-related disruption, right? Thank God for Vibes Cartel and the Mavada clash, right? Okay, right? Now, it does not mean that Jamaica stops being the birthplace or the spiritual center for the music. It means that when the world's most dependable reggae gatherings point at places like Spain, Germany, or the UK, many global fans are experiencing reggae and dancehall through foreign festival systems. We have to have some kind. What happened to a shame tree? We don't have a shame tree. Your shame tree cut down. Rotterdam Sunsplash marked its 30th anniversary in 2025 in Spain. Summer Jam already promoting the 2026 edition, already passed. Nottingham Carnival remains one of Europe's largest recurring Caribbean cultural gatherings. That matters because hosting is power. Hosting is power, people. Fire Nation, the host country, you control the calendar, you control the venue design, you control the sponsorship environment, right? You control the audience journey, you control all the side programming, you control the press access. It's facts. So when Jamaica hosts a major festival, the world comes into Jamaican space and receives the culture on our Jamaican terms. You do not receive our culture on our Jamaican terms in Europe. You don't, you cannot. So when Spain, Germany, or the UK host the most stable, the most large-scale gatherings, the culture is still Jamaican in origin, but the experience architecture is foreign controlled. That is an inference, but it follows directly from where the major recurring festival infrastructure currently sits. You have to follow the money. And there's also a scale issue. Okay? Rotterdam's official reporting in 2024, it said that it drew people from 113 countries. Wouldn't we want that? Right? Over 100 artists was there. That means a huge number of global fans may encounter reggae's biggest annual communal ritual in Spain rather than Jamaica. Once that becomes normalized in our Jamaican people, our Fire Nation, once that becomes normalized, Jamaica remains the source, but it becomes less central as the physical meeting ground for the culture, and we lose money. Okay? We risk losing control over public staging of our culture. And the staging shapes the perception. Okay? We talked about the economic leakage. I'm not going to go back over that. Right? Repeatability is a second layer. A one-off unstable local event creates uncertain economic planning. So the one-off Sumfest now is uncertain economic planning for next year because we don't even know if they're planning to do it again in Mobe. It's going to be a one-off again. A festival that happens every year on schedule and at scale becomes a part of a city's business model. That's why the hotels were complaining and crying because it was a part of their projections. That is why countries like Spain and Germany will gain, right? And that is why they maintain the reggae institutions with the calendar certainty because the other industries in their country depend on the calendar certainty. The transportation, right? The hotels, the food, the local attractions, all of that, the fears, they're banking on the people coming there. And the people can bang on it. Why? Because they know it's going to happen every year. We don't have that. Right? Now the artists are going to increasingly want to prove themselves abroad. Okay? As I said before, we had the major stages with the major proving grounds in Jamaica. Right? But when our marquee festivals are fewer, smaller, they're unstable, we lose everything. It's not just theory. It's not just theory. Jamaican artists are strong live draws in Europe, all over the place. Why are they not strong live draws here? Okay. Another thing is this: we should be our own talent escalator. We are not. Text says Miss Bluefire, the overcharging of promoters is a big problem. That's true. Big, trust me, it's true. Frost one side said passing through. Bless up, Miss Bluefire. Ima, bless up. Bless up, Frost one side. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Bless
Good
up.
to, good to see you. Right? The motherland of the culture. Text said only have one show. Exactly. Text, we need to be embarrassed. You can't give people shame, but seriously, we need to be embarrassed. This is poor. This is poor. Right? Miss Jacob says, Miss Julia, question. Now that the Women's World Cup I got to JA, would they not gonna invest now and build up the infrastructure, right? Dance all our festivals would have been the motivation, right? Miss Jacobs, let's see what they do, Miss Jacobs, because even the way how they treat our athletes, even the way how they treat our athletes is despicable. Get back your money yet? Listen,
I
Miss
think
Jacobs,
2007.
sorry, Imatep, got you.
2007 was when I think we hosted the Cricket World Cup.
Mm,
I think it was 2007. Let me see. Is it 2007? The Cricket World Cup?
I
And
think so.
listen me, we did a lot of infrastructure building.
Mm,
Remember, we built the Greenfield, the Trelawney Stadium. It was named Greenfield Stadium. Then they
mm-hmm.
renamed the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium, and it's not even being utilized a lot. And it could have been used as some venue as well. Just like when at Kingston, a lot of promoters will use Sabina Park. You know, the cost
Yeah.
of rent and whatever. Yes, but they will use Sabina Park as a venue as well too. Yeah, so I'm saying we invested in a lot of the infrastructure to accommodate the Cricket World Cup. So 100%, if there was that interest, then of course the infrastructure automatically accompanies it. It does.
Facts. 100%. 100%. Now, we should have our own talent escalators. I want you guys to look up reggaeville.com. Summer Jams 2026 Talent Contest literally offers a performance slot to this is what they call it, one of Europe's biggest reggae stages. That tells you something very important. Overseas festivals are not only hosting established Jamaican stars like a Mr. Vegas and like a Vibes Cartel, they are also functioning as career validating platforms. We had career validating platforms. Sting was one of them. Sunsplash, Sumfest was one of them. Right? The sequence of validation shifts to the diaspora stages. Right? It does not erase Jamaica's importance as yet, but it changes the order of legitimacy, which is important. Home becomes less of an unavoidable first tribunal Abroad becomes more of a parallel or even primary proving ground. We cannot have that, right? We cannot have that. There is also a taste consequence here. A Jamaican crowd tests one kind of authenticity. A European festival crowd may reward different things like accessibility, crossover appeal, live band polish, pacing, crowd comfort, multilingual hosting, and broader genre blending. So their values are different than our Jamaican crowd values. We have to think about that too, right? So if more validation happens abroad, artists may increasingly optimize for what works abroad instead of what works here. That is why cultural impact and us focusing on cultural impact is also important. That is one of the reasons why I kept on talking about cultural impact and why it's important, right? Especially because we don't have the data and we don't have the charts. We need to we have to rely more on cultural impact because that's really all that we have really right now. So I'm saying, right? It's not always bad, but it does mean the pressure of home weakens as the first shaping force, and we need to protect that, right? Now, if other countries host reggae and dancehall more consistently, they also influence how the culture is seen. The festival hosts choose who headlines, they choose how the artists are grouped, they choose how the genre is described in the promo language, they choose what side events matter, they choose what visuals dominate, right? It's facts. Summer Jam blends reggae, dancehall, and hip hop in a broader festival identity. Rototom, right, presents itself not only as a music event, right, but it's values driven experience, multiple days. Nottingham Carnival, right, it turns Caribbean sound into a huge diasporic public ritual in London, right, with the Jamaican sound system culture sitting inside a wider carnival ecosystem. So it's changed. We are the way we cannot think other people will outsource our thing the way how we will also. We have different values, we have different lived experience, and this is a danger. Reggae can soon be framed as world music or peace and vibes festival culture. That is what is framed as right now, right? And dancehall may be curated as one flavor within a broader urban global mix. That is why even at the Grammys, is like it don't have its own lane, one flavor within a broader urban global mix. No, it depends. It is not one flavor in the pot. It deserves its own pot. It's a different genre, right? And Jamaican rawness will be softened to be export friendly all the time. No, that is important, but not all the time. It can't be softened up that much, right? It's facts. This is what I mean by cultural narrative risk. Jamaica still creates the sound, but the foreign host can increasingly shape the story that the audience receives around that sound. So now all of a sudden reggae is peace and vibes festival culture. Or reggae is now world music. It's everybody's music. No, it belongs to Jamaica. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Right? Good. Then the world may start to associate reggae's biggest dependable communal moments with Spain, Germany, and London more than Jamaica itself. We're almost done now. Put all four things together and the pattern becomes clear, Fire Nation. Jamaica risks losing some practical cultural power when major reggae and dancehall platforms are more stable abroad than at home. The loss is not total, and it's not irreversible, but it is real in four linked ways. Less local capture of the money generated by the gatherings, more artist prestige being built on foreign stages, more of the culture's public framing being shaped by foreign minds, less control where the world physically gathers around our music. That is why this conversation matters beyond nostalgia. It's more than just, oh, we miss stage shows. No, it's about whether Jamaica remains not only the creator of the sound, but also the most important host and the beneficiary and the validator and the narrator of the sound. This is my quote. When other countries host your culture more consistently than you do, then they don't become the owner, but they do become the gatekeeper of the live experience. And we cannot afford another country, another culture to become the gatekeeper of what it is that we have. Let me see if I can be done here. See. Yes. Let's think like the promoters. We're almost done. We have 5 more slides, I believe. If you break it down like a promoter would, they give us 5 buckets. The infrastructure shock, the trigger, not just the rumor. Right? Transportation routes, accommodation readiness, the vendor supplies change, the staffing pipelines. Why St. Anne? Well, St. Anne, the plantation cove, it gave a controlled reset environment. There was fewer moving parts than in Mobay. They're easier to secure and manage for a one-night show, right? It's closer to the newer resort clusters like the Ocho Rios corridor, what them call the Ocho Rios corridor. So this is what the promoters are thinking, right? The established home, yes, is Montego Bay. That was the established home, right? Why? Because for decades it had the dense hotel inventory, a lot of accommodation, the airport access because the Sansas International Airport is right there, right? And there's an established event site, the Catherine Hall, right? But when the ecosystem takes a hit, whether from the storm damage, whether from logistics or wear and tear on the venue, you're not just fixing a stage, you're fixing the transport routes. That's all they had to do. The accommodation readiness, the vendor supplies change, and the staffing pipeline. That's why the promoters said, you know what? It's better for us to just do it fresh in St. Anne. No, risk management. This is how promoters actually think. After a disruption year, I don't want you guys to forget this. Listen to what I'm saying. Promoters always ask one question. How do we guarantee the shows goes on no matter what? How do we guarantee that? Because they want to know how they're going to guarantee their money. A full Sumfest week in Mobay means multiple nights, multiple stages, heavy artist rotation, large staff, and security footprint. That is multiple risks. That's a lot of moving parts. The pivot becomes reduce the scale, reduce exposure, and ensure execution. So guess what they did? That's how you got the one night format. That's how you got the tight lineup, which is headline driven, which is Mavada and Vibes Cartel. That's how you got the new location with fewer variables because they were in damage control. That is not cultural. That is insurance logic. So that is what we have to think like promoters when you want to think about why they did certain things. Then there was the economic recalibration. You must follow the money carefully. Yes, Montego Bay businesses benefit massively from the hotels, like we said, the restaurants and the vendors. So then why leave? Because from the promoter's perspective, who is carrying the cost versus who is collecting the money? That's the problem. The promoters are carrying the cost, right? Who is collecting the money? So if the hotel rates rise because they need to repair themselves and the partnerships then weaken, right? And then there's discounts that decline because the hotels are rebuilding themselves and the supports decline. Then staging in Mobay becomes high cost with lower control. So the promoter's not going to want that. It's fact. They don't want the high cost with lower control. That's a promoter's nightmare. So what did moving to St. Anne allow? I want you to think like a promoter here. Moving to St. Anne allowed renegotiation of the local partnerships, right? There was potentially better venue economics. Yeah, that place is easier to manage, apparently. There was more control over ticketing and the environment. It's subtle, but it's critical. Sumfest may generate money for a city without being the most profitable setup for the organizers. This is a thing. Sumfest might generate money for the city now with the hotels, with the taxi, with all of that stuff. without being the most profitable for the organizers. So that is why the promoters have to ask who is carrying the cost and who is collecting the money. That is what they're thinking about. So yes, it's true, it's good for the island and stuff, but it has to be good for the promoters as well. It has to be good for their pockets as well, right? Or it's not going to continue. Now, this is what I believe and this is what I see. There was a brand and narrative control with Sumfest. It was a strategic reset. So after disruption, you don't just continue. You don't. You reframe, right? Branding knows that. Every brand, every marketer knows that. That's why the language shifted to a taste of reggae Sumfest. That's what Imata was talking about earlier. A taste of reggae Sumfest. It does three things. Number one, it lowers your expectation. So people don't compare it, or they're not supposed to compare it directly to the full festival week, to the full reggae Sumfest, because it's just a taste. Number two, it creates exclusivity. It's one night. So that makes higher urgency. That makes stronger ticket demand. That is what I told you that Alkaline did, and he did it very well. You see, I wasn't telling you foolishness. You see, I wasn't telling you foolishness. One night, higher urgency, stronger ticket demand. Number three, it allows the brand protection. If anything goes wrong, it's not Sumfest failed. It was just a special edition. You know, we just was trying a thing, type of thing. So let's see if it failed, then we just was trying a thing. It was just a special edition. But guess what? It was a massive success. So guess what? Now they're saying that, yeah, Sumfest did it. It's fact. In the business world, this was intelligent marketing, as this is reputation management disguised as innovation. They try to make it pull off like, oh, we're being innovative. Yes, we're going to do it, just the one night and just the dance all night. No. It was reputation management. That's why they had the taste of Sumfest. That's why they call it the taste of Sumfest. And they make it so like, oh, they're rebranding and it's innovative. The taste of something is innovative. No, it was reputation management, because if it failed, them can say it wasn't Sumfest. It was a special edition, something that we were just trying. It's a fact. That was very smart of them, right? Now, if you compare to one night, you pick the genre that guarantees the attendance, the energy, the ticket conversion. That is dancehall. We said that before, right? So if nobody says it publicly, the one night format, the headline driven booking, the high energy crowd naturally pushes the event towards dancehall dominance. This is how important dancehall is. Okay, now we're done, right? There was a geographic strategy as well. It was a quiet, but it was a very smart move, right? St. Anne is still heavily touristic, and it is also cruise ship connected, and it's also close to the resort development. So moving there, it spreads the cultural activity beyond Mobe. And it also, this is what I was saying before, it tests new tourism event alignment. This is what a test, and they passed the test. So now St. Anne knows that it can host a festival like that and have tourism event alignment. This could be a temporary pivot, it could be, or is a long-term diversification test. Maybe they're testing to see if it was so successful, maybe this is what we need to do and cut down our costs from the 3 nights, keep it as the one night. St. Anne wasn't bad. And so guess what? We didn't tell them that we were going to come back to Mobe. We said that Mobe remains the home of Sumfest. That is very unclear language, people. I need you to know when people trying to be unclear with you. That's unclear language. They were leaving it open. And that is how I could gather that, yes, it was a test. Right? They're testing to see if it will work. Now, what they're going to do next year, I don't know. Which is it? We have to wait and see what they do next year. Now, in closing, Sumfest didn't just move location, it moved strategies. From being a full cultural takeover of a city to being a controlled, high-impact event that cannot afford to fail. Right? Again, in closing, why other countries are winning? Spain, Germany, UK, Japan. What do they have that we do not have? Answer. They have consistency. They have planning. They have infrastructure. They have government cooperation. They have transportation. They have venue stability. What is the business lesson? The businesses don't survive because they started first. They survive because they became systems. Never forget the four hidden costs that Jamaica pays. The economic leakage, the money goes elsewhere. We talked about the hotels, the restaurant, the taxi. That's cost one. Number two, artist validation. Instead of Kingston and Mobe, artists now prove themselves in Europe and North America. Number three, what's the cost three? The narrative control. Whoever hosts, they frame. Whoever hosts, they package. Whoever hosts, they market. Whoever hosts, they explain. Cost number four, the cultural memory. Where are tomorrow's legendary performances coming from? I want you guys to ask, what was the last performance everyone still talks about 10 years later? What's the big business lesson here? Fire Nation. This is not just about reggae. This is about every business. The biggest companies don't win because they invent. They win because they institutionalize. Let me say that again. The biggest companies, the most successful companies, they do not win because they invent. They win because they institutionalize. Let me give you some examples. Think of Kodak. Kodak invented the digital cameras. Apple perfected the ecosystem of the digital cameras. MySpace came first, but Facebook built systems. BlackBerry came first, but Apple created the infrastructure. Jamaica invented reggae. But now, Fire Nation, who is building the strongest infrastructure around said reggae? So we're done now, but I want you guys to ask yourself these questions in your own time and take it to the other platforms too. Ask the other creators, ask the other bloggers, because a lot of them have music knowledge. And these are good discussions that we need to have in the space, instead of who sleep with who and who do this to who and who gonna jail. All of that foolishness. Listen, this is progress. This is what you need to be talking about. This is what you need to bring up in the middle of the mix up. I'm not saying to get rid of the mix up. Keep the mix up. Fine. Ask these questions. Should government invest more in music festivals? Yes. Would you rather have one massive festival or 5 smaller festivals? I say 5.
5, yeah.
Me too. Yes, Imhotep, answer some of these. Has streaming weakened stage show culture?
No, because they are not diametrically opposed. You can stream and still do stage shows. It's just the market and the appeal for it right now.
I can see that too.
Yeah.
Actually, I can see that too. But the reason why I would say maybe a little bit is because I see a lot of dependency on the streaming and a lot of buffing of the stage show culture. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people they are saying that, oh, times change, times change. Yes, but certain things remain part of the structure. But I see what you're saying though. They're not supposed to be opposed.
No,
Yeah,
no,
go
no, because you do have artists right now who are
on.
streaming very well, and they are doing a lot of stage shows.
That's right.
You
That's
understand
right.
what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. But I was talking about the younger ones coming up that you hear talking that say, "Oh, him don't have to know the performer. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean. You don't have to clash, or oh, yeah, him don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like they're heavily relying on the streaming because, and I think because they were not exposed to a lot of the stage culture, and they're not being exposed to a lot of the stage culture because we don't have them. So it's the dependency on the streaming that worries me. But I see what you're saying. You're right. They're not opposed naturally.
no,
Now, go ahead, Imhotep. What are you saying?
no. I'm saying, yeah, they are not opposed because I mean, one can accompany the other, complement the other.
Yeah. Would Sting survive today if launched from scratch? I think so.
Would Sting
Yeah.
survive today if launched from scratch? So what does
Yeah.
launching from scratch looks like?
Well, starting over with the right infrastructure, with the clash culture, but at the same time having certain things that basically a do-over. Will it survive? I think it would survive because of the fact that there's still a large audience that appreciate the stage shows.
Right, but the last thing that was supposed to have been kept um was a departure from the brand Sting itself, because they
That's
were doing
right.
some 3-day thing. Sting
Right.
was considered the greatest one night show. They were
Right.
trying to rebrand and go down one next lane,
Exactly.
3D event and things like that, right? And
Exactly.
that never work out. So when me I say that was them doing something differently.
Right. But
Sometimes they say if it's not broken, don't fix it. So
exactly.
the departure from the one night show, they're gonna 3 night and them something. I don't think that is a good idea.
Exactly, and that is not starting from. That is not what we mean by launch from scratch. But yes, I agree with you 100%. Right. What I mean is, and that was also a mistake, as we talked
Yeah,
about the different branding. Right.
right.
That was never Sting's branding.
Yeah,
So that
true.
was also a mistake. Right.
You're
No.
dismissing your brand to rebrand, and,
Right.
and that rebranding is new to the audience as well.
and and that is not the cultural job where we talked about in the beginning. The Sting had a different cultural job than Sumfest. They both have those different type of stage shows, different cultural job than Rebel Salute.
Yes, yes. Sting
Every
was more hardcore,
right,
and a straight dancehall. Some
right,
fest, it's a mixture of reggae and dancehall. When it comes on to Rebel Salute, it's a reggae. It
right.
was more reggae, not even recently. Because like the initial stage of those shows,
Yes,
you never really have the dancehall artists them like that. It was more of a
exactly.
Rasta or conscious type of artist.
Exactly. It's a different
Platform.
mood, different venue, different mood, different. That's why I was saying to them, the way you just to go to a Sting is different than you would go to a Rebel Salute. It's facts. It's facts because a different vibe, it's a different cultural job
Yes,
that they have, and so that's why these festivals are not interchangeable, and we need to not think about them as interchangeable because they have different jobs in our culture. Now, should some fest return to multiple nights as soon as possible? I think so. I think so. As we talked about the different tiers, right? We need the different stages for the newer comers, right? The different stages for the reggae artists, the different stage for the dancehall artists, the newcomers and the headliners, right? So that we can look at them with their proper weight, right? I think it gave a lot of the early performers a disjustice, actually, a disjustice when they had to perform right before Vibes Cartel and
yes.
Mavado.
But Mrs. Bluefire,
Mm-hmm.
that's called a baptism of fire as well. And sometimes
That is true.
a rite of passage, because in the dancehall industry, a lot of artists had to go through that. Right? It's your moment as well, too, So you have to
Mm.
just do what you can do. But the main focus are gonna be the Vibes Cartel and Mavado, and it goes back to yes, Joe did what he did, but here we go on. Joe was smart enough to know say he had a product that he could sell and it was marketable. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the Vibes Cartel versus Movado,
Big
right?
up, big up Golden Eye 7. Good to see you. I didn't see you before. And big up Jamaica War Chef. Big up War Chef. I don't know how you become a war chef, because the thing is when you cook, you're supposed to cook with love. I don't know. Boy, Jamaica War Chef, I think I'm probably afraid to eat from you, because it don't look like you cook with love at all. You cook with war. Let me see. Anyway, I just joking with you. Structuring on a good head line is it's possible. That's true. It's possible. Renee said, hard to argue that the subgenre of dancehall needs its own lane. We are not promoting unity on the world stage. That's right. 100%. 100%. Imhotep, what you said, right? Pardon me. Right now, has Europe become the world's reggae festival capital? It seems
Um,
so. It's fastly
yes,
approaching. It's fast
yes,
approaching.
it's between Europe and California.
That's right.
But and
That's
Europe,
right.
because Europe has more. You go to the UK,
Mm.
it's massive. You go to Belgium, you go to the Netherlands, you go to Germany, you go to France, you go to Italy, you go to Switzerland, Sweden, all those places. A lot of reggae shows are going on and dancehall. So it's there. The market is bigger in Europe, in my view, than the North American market.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Yeah.
so too. 100%. 100%.
Spain, Spain and places like that too.
Yeah, I think so too. 100%. That's a good point, right? Now, do artists need Jamaica less today than they did 25 years ago. This is a problem. Now, it depends. A lot of artists can't travel, so they do need because they have to bloom where they're planted. But if we continue having these proving stages abroad, soon you're going to find that artists don't need Jamaica as much. But this question, do artists need Jamaica less today than they did 25 years ago? I would say
But
so.
but
I
but
would say so because the touring money that the artists get to Imhotep, they don't have to they don't have to rely on the shows in Jamaica. You see what I'm
right,
saying?
and the thing is, you have many artists who have not done a show in a Jamaica in a long time.
Exactly.
And guess what happened? It has not impacted their demand or their appeal. You understand what I
Right.
say? However, they are touring over Europe, they are touring in North America, they are doing shows all over the place. Yet then they
Exactly.
might not do the shows in a Jamaica. So right there, it even shows that there's that shift. Social media as well too created that shift where yes, an artist can, once he's established, of course, him can be all over the place and not be even dominant in a Jamaica, but still I get like the shows them and all them something. Because guess what? Him a go have him catalog. So at the
That's
end of the
right.
day, yeah, that's the key thing.
That's right. And Imhotep, here is your question. Should Jamaica build a permanent world-class reggae venue? Yes.
There should be there,
More
there,
than
there should
one.
be there should be many because it's
Yes.
about infrastructure development, right? The,
Exactly.
listen me, the Chilani multi-purpose stadium, it's state owned and operated, right? And it's like
Mhm.
it's not even used a lot.
That's
You
right.
understand what I saying? And look where that the Trillani multi-purpose stadium and not even certain events are key for them, something like big events. So I'm just saying, like, you need multiple venues. Every parish should really have one.
Yeah.
You know what I say? Every parish should really have one, and you have them at multiple places too, because the more entertainment zones there is, the better it is for the culture as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. No, 100% right, Imhotep. 100% right. Exactly. Now, if you were the Minister of Culture, what would you change first? For me, it's not a matter of first, but the list of things to change, they would have to put some of the education in schools about the music business, about how it works, and also have more stipends and some more what you call it, scholarships for talented inner city youth. What else would you add to that, Imhotep, if you were the Minister of Culture? Let me change the question. Not what would you change first, but what would you change as priority?
All
What?
right.
Yes,
So
go ahead.
so the protection of the
Mm-hmm.
culture and the genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once the approach is to protect, the approach is to preserve,
Mm-hmm.
because we preserve what we protect. if,
Right.
if we're not protecting it, it's not preserved, and somebody else come and take it. Just like all the way you present a while ago, and
Yeah.
that highlight over Europe and all about the place. Reggae and dancehall is more dominant over them places than even in terms of structure,
Yeah.
like and promoters and shows and them something than it even is in the local space. So to protect um the culture,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to focus on you have to focus on the awareness, right?
Yes.
So as you said, it being taught in schools, it's a part of the culture. It should be a part of the history.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
to protect it is for people to know about it.
That's right.
That's a means of protecting the legacy and the history of it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So
100%.
yeah, so protecting it is very important. I don't think the government is as stringent in terms of trying to protect the brand and the legacy. No, but that is where it should start though.
That's right.
You see, once the objective is to protect, the objective is to preserve, and if it's to preserve, all actions are gonna be, beneficial to that notion.
That's right. That's right. 100%. I love that, Imhotep. Love that. So people, this is the references. I want you to go to the production withdrawal, go to past that Jamaica production withdrawal heart sting 2024. This is past that Jamaica hypergleaner.com. Okay, go there. Um reggaeville.com, go there. Watertoms sunsplash.com, go there. Right? In the Observer, I took many different articles from this, but go to this one here. The dancehall pantomime Jamaican Observer. This is the hyperlink. Okay. Now I just wanted to say thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Fire Nation, for being here. And thank you, Imhotep. You know, you are my true friend. You are my love, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming here and saying what you said, and actually helping to create that standard that you can't diss my sister or can't diss Miss Julia,
Right,
and
right.
everything will be okay. So I bless you for that, and I thank you.
Yeah,
And
man.
really and truly, you know, it's you know how it is. You know how it is. So I mean, when we communicate, when it come on to our minds coming together, it's always stimulating. And it's always great. So I'm just happy. I'm just
Far
happy.
we come from,
happy.
you know.
I
Far we
know
come
far
from, you know.
where I come from,
Right.
but a journey, right?
More time still. So
Mm.
yeah, man, greatly appreciate the content, right?
Yeah.
It's quality, it's informative,
Thank
it's
you.
very detailed, very cogent, and really and truly, still, there's nothing like it around. Now we have to be honest, right? So that's the reason why we have to protect it as well, too. You
Thank
get
you,
what I mean?
Imata.
And that's why we have to
Thank
just know the year ago and now. If our actions are not in the interest of protecting it, yeah, then we know say our actions are wrong. And
That's
we
right.
have to just right the wrongs. You get what I say?
And
And
I appreciate that.
make the wrongs right. Or whatever wrongs we did, we just make it right. You get what
Yes,
I
you make
say?
it right. And you've made it, right. You have
Yeah, yeah.
made
So
it
we
right.
have to protect the platform, man. You know, we have a
Thank you.
secure the platform and them something.
Thank you.
Know it in terms of make people know say yeah, it's not our intention,
Right.
to yeah, say
Yeah.
certain
We know.
things on the platform, knowing the nature of the platform. We have to respect that. And
That's
that's
right. That's
so
right.
man, big
And
up yourself.
friends will have bumps in the road. And it's just always a see, and we don't have to disagree and make it become another a scandal. You understand what I'm saying? How we deal with each other. You understand? Is
Like
but
but that's
you
key.
can't teach people how to deal with each
Yeah,
other.
but
So
that's a key thing, and let me tell you something. That's a key thing all the while, you were going to
mhm,
know. Sometimes it's not when the road is smooth.
mhm.
The friendship really prove the test of time. It's really when there's a bump in the road or the quote unquote disagreements are not seen eye to eye. That determines, how we kind of deal with it sometimes. So that even show the true nature of friendship and things like that still. But you know how it goes, me say, far where I come from,
That's
years,
right.
and you know how the thing go.
No,
Yeah,
other
we have
people.
to always
I
we have
get
to always protect and serve, and that we
that's
are deal with. They get what me I say.
thank you, Imata.
Yeah, man.
Very
Big
for
up
that.
yourself.
Bless up everybody. And listen, Jamaica Warchef is defending himself. He says, LOL, being in the kitchen is a battle. Sometimes facing the heat, ingredients, and using up your cooking methods, chopping, dancing, dicing, stirring, whisking is like marshals after a while. It's just the skills. You know what? You're right.
True.
You're right, Jamaica Warship. I get it. You're right. You're right. I stand corrected. And I will eat your food. No problem. It actually sounds like as if it would be delicious.
And the funny thing is, with that,
Mhm.
nothing is done randomly.
Right.
Everything has to be calculated.
Right.
In terms
Right.
of where you are going to put in first, not the pattern, what ingredients first, and this you can't just do it randomly. So yeah, it's really a battle in there, man. It's really like kitchen.
So
True.
Golden Eye say, bless up at
Yeah,
Kira and Miss Blue Fire.
yeah,
I
man.
always pass through, but I'm labeled anti-Gaza, so I never said, oh, I didn't know that. You see,
No,
that's
but
the
what
thing. I
no,
don't
but
really
what
pay. I
so
never know. I don't. You see, that's the thing. I don't really pay attention to like the people who are always here. Then I will know who they are, but I don't really pay attention to because I'm not on the other platforms like that. So I don't really know who is labeled anti-Gaza or who is labeled anti-Gaza. But I mean, listen, we don't diss any artists over here. So once you don't diss any artist, and also Guys Cartel is my artist, that's fact. But I mean, any artist, we don't want to diss them because we're not here to diss or bring down any artists. We're here to uplift and to encourage the artists to learn, right? So doesn't matter if you are labeled elsewhere as anti-Gaza, you can always type over here. Just once you're not disrespectful, nobody not going to disrespect you. You understand? Because I want us all to have a space where it's a community where we can all learn. If you don't want to stay in the bushes, you don't like each other, that's fine. But at least you can benefit from the content. Because in my eyes, you're all my Jamaican beautiful people, right? And I just want us all to get through. So
Right.
bless up.
The platform the platform is diverse because here we go now. All kind of people from all walks of life there. Yeah,
Mm,
it has always been that way too, as well.
yeah.
So
And yeah, you go ahead.
yeah, you know, Afi. So what if someone think you're anti this or that? Yeah, it's just a disagreement and we can move on with that still. But
We
it's not as
continue.
if Miss Julia is hostile or anything like that.
No,
She has
no.
never been that way. No, I mean it's about the message. It's,
Right.
it's about the message, you know. Her content
Right.
is what the message. So at the
Right.
end of the day, you eat the meat and spit out the bones. It's
Right.
not a matter of what the environment is or where the environment is. It's about the message because the message determines the environment.
That's right. That's right, Imhotep. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
people just have
100%.
to look upon it that way. They still man and know say, yeah, man,
100%.
a different environment. Oh, I
Definitely. And golden eye, let me tell you, and that is why my we have had this this little, not problem, but this is, it's not a problem to me because I can turn on my live and talk to myself. You guys know I talk to myself all day. So I can teach it, so I don't mind. But this is the issue. Because of the fact that I like different people from different walks of life, and because of the fact that I can see good in different people, apparently I tend to like, now it seems as if I like a lot of people who don't like each other or who have had history with each other. So it just happened that way because I knew, and then I see this, I learned this person. I said, oh, okay, this person is cool, they have this quality. This person is cool, they have this quality. But then them don't like each other. So guess what? Some of them might want to support, but they don't feel like it. But they feel like somebody might style them. They feel like somebody over here might have a range, so they might style. None of that is going to happen. You see what I'm saying? And I don't want any of that to happen. So
no,
I mean,
no,
you know,
yeah,
that is, but I
no,
want people to be
I've not
comfortable.
seen
You
that
go ahead.
happen. I've not seen that happen
Right.
so far still. And I
Right.
mean, guess I go on to here go on. Everybody have to respect your platform too as well. You get what
Yeah.
me? I say, and here we go on now. It's not about our feelings when they come onto your platform. It's what's in the best interest of your platform.
Thank you,
And
Ima.
all our way have to know that too as well. So here go on. That can't go on either. You understand me? I
Right.
say because that's not the nature of your platform either. So people have to
Right.
risk what your platform stand for. You get what
Right.
I say? Simple, simple, simple.
So
If
over here is his peacetime Imhotep. But
eh?
whenever I say over here,
Yeah,
here
oh,
peacetime. But
yeah, man.
sometimes he's running fire over film part.
Peace time, well behaved and well
Peacetime
mannered
Imhotep.
and over. But yeah,
Yeah.
over my platform now. Yeah, if push come to shove, you know you
Yes.
ask
I'm
for.
lighting up over there, but I'm
Yeah.
not realizing up over here. So this
No,
is
no, no,
peacetime
no, man. We don't
Imhotep.
have a problem with no one.
Yeah.
And just to go on, as I say again, we don't have any issue with nobody out here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's over music and it's very simple. We don't have to agree. So here
Right.
go on now. Me no want nobody feel as if say, you know, if them see my presence to them intimidated too, because you know that go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not
Understood.
needed as well too. Because I have an idea. If Miss Julia de out here present these type of content, right? That is nowhere in the space, even from a Jamaican vlogging perspective. It's nowhere in the space. She's the only one presenting these type of content. You get what I mean? I say, yeah, but people have to respect and appreciate this because it's very unique. I don't know, joke thing. Nobody else now do them level of presentations here. I don't know, that's reality. You get
That's
what
it.
me I say? So and it's concise, it's cogent. People should appreciate quality content. Me understand how the space is. Yeah, we're very toxic and disrespectful and things like that over what? Disagreements. You know, at the end of the day, people have to just know, so here go on. you were out here presenting, quality content of this nature. Yeah, it should be appreciated and in the interest of your platform, even if people don't agree. Yeah, we can all be in the same space. That's called maturity as well too. You
Yeah.
get what me I say? Yeah, if the interest is to support, yeah, irrespective of who is in the space, is yeah, sometimes you just know say, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's what I like about Friday too. If you see, if you go, well, like the couple times I've been over to Friday, when you look in his comment section, in my procs, in my
Right,
Gaza
right,
people,
right.
in my, only I
And
have a
get
couple
that, and
vendetta
get
people,
that
a
crux,
couple.
new
In
child
my,
people, everybody. Oh yeah,
yeah,
clubhouse, yeah,
my in my Friday, I've all of them people. So that is something, and that's what I want you guys to know, to the bloggers. Like I like a lot of certain things from a lot of you. Like I learn from you. You think that is? You think I don't learn from? I learn from a lot of you, and a lot of you have some qualities that I actually like. You see what I'm saying? That I say like, wow, I want my platform to have that part, like what Fryneck have with the all the different people coming and them, them have court and so, even though it's court, doesn't matter. Just the fact that people can just exist and take from it what they can. That's what I
right.
want to. That's what I want to have. So, bless up everybody. It is late. No, it's 10:05. I know it is 11:05 your time. Imhotep, bless
Yeah,
you
man.
and thank you for
Let's
being
go, let's
here.
go.
You are much appreciated. You know how special you are to me as well. God bless you. And yeah, all is restored. So blessing everybody and thank you for being here. But hold on, let me just end by saying one thing because I wrote something for you, Fire Nation. Tonight was not about attacking Sumfest. It wasn't about criticizing Sting. It wasn't about blaming promoters. It was about asking a question every culture must eventually ask itself. Are we building institutions or are we depending on memories? Because legends eventually retire. It's fact. Bounty Killer going to retire. Eventually Vibes Cartel going to retire. Eventually Mr. Vegas going to retire. Great songs eventually become classics. It's a fact. We have them now. But institutions, Fire Nation, institutions outlive generations. Why? Because there are structures. Reggae didn't change the world because of one artist. No. Dancehall didn't influence the globe because of one song. No. They changed the world because Jamaica built something the world fell in love with. So the question now is whether we're building the next 50 years from today, or are we simply just celebrating the last 50 and chatting up our mouth on these platforms about things that don't really matter for the future of our culture? Fire Nation, I want you to never forget. Culture is born through creativity, but it survives through infrastructure. I'm going to say that again. Culture is born through creativity, but it survives through infrastructure. So until next time, my Fire Nation, I want you to keep building, keep questioning, keep thinking. And as always, let's continue taking each other higher. This is Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. Bless up everybody. Bless up Guard Chef. Bless up Jamaica Vibes Entertainment. Bless up Renee and Levy. Bless up all of Time Come. Bless up Philip. Bless up everybody who is here. Golden Eye, you're always welcome here. What you doing? This is my artist. Bless up everybody and to my special honor and special guest and my friend. And more than that, thank you, Imhotep, for being here. Blessing everybody. I'm out.
Fire Nation, listen to me. You don't log off and go back to playing small. You take what you learned and you execute. This is why Fire Nation exists. To rise higher, to build smarter, and to change the financial future of our families. I'm Miss Julia, A.K.A. Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. And wherever you go next, you carry our fire with you. Fire Nation, we rise, we build, and we're just getting started.